Australia is delighted to have Inglewood Coffee Roasters as an official partner and the official coffee provider of the Australian rowing team.
To celebrate the partnership between Inglewood Coffee Roasters and Rowing Australia, Inglewood is giving away a year's supply of coffee to 5 lucky rowing fans. To enter the competition, all you need to do is head to the Australian Rowing Championships between the 18th and 24th of March and scan one of the competition QR codes at the venue.
We love that Inglewood is Australian owned and specialises in sourcing and roasting the highest quality beans for a great cup of coffee. Purchase your event tickets and join us for a week of exhilarating competition. It's also your last chance to watch our Australian rowing team compete on home soil before they head off to Europe for the 2024 Paris Games. The winner will be selected randomly and announced after the Australian Rowing Championships. Good luck. Australian Coastal Rowing and Beach Sprint Championships, which are also doubling up as the Oceania Beach Sprint Championships this year. We're running 2 disciplines. Over the first 2 days, we will have the Endurance, which is a 4-kilometre race around marks out to sea. And that's going to challenge things like navigation, time on distance, handling the swell and the tides. Whereas the beach sprints, it's fast, it's furious. It's a 50-metre sprint down the beach, 2 50-metre slalom sprint out to a top mark, coming back in, jumping out of the boat, 50-metre running sprint up the beach. The first to hit the buzzer goes through. The great thing about coastal rowing is the unpredictability of that environment. It's not only who is the best and who is the fastest rower, but who can handle these conditions.
It was tough. I just going around that buoy, I did a bit wide, but I knew I just had to stay in front so I could have a clear sprint to the finish. But I was just really, really excited to be in the final and have a chance just to win a medal.
This is a little bit of a down week for me, so Sarah Cook convinced me to get out in a coastal boat. It's been great so far.
A lot more to think about with just the logistics of getting in the boat, getting out, getting up, pressing a buzzer.
There's something for everyone, whether you're into the sprint format of beach sprints, whether you're into the endurance of coastal rowing, whether you're a master, a junior or an open or typically see in flat water rowing. We look forward to it getting bigger and better every year. We've seen a huge increase in the number of competitors and interest. Get on board, be part of it, and we look forward to seeing you in Queensland for the Australian Coastal Rowing and Beach Sprint Championships in 2024.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's our custom that we have an interview after the lunch break, and I'm joined in the commentary box by Ron Batt, Sports Development Manager for Rowing Australia. Ron, welcome.
Thank you very much, Ray. Great to be here.
Now, we just saw a video there about coastal rowing. I know you're really passionate about coastal rowing, but you've got an initiative you're trying to manufacture here on the weekend.
Yeah, we're hoping to have we're going to have a little bit of a race on the Sunday lunch break down the course in front of the grandstands with a couple of the Cox quads is the intention. We just need to fill the seats first.
Okay, and how many seats have you got left to fill?
Ideally, what we're trying to find is 4 good women so that we can do 2 mixed quads racing and 2 good coxswains who'll keep the boat straight.
Yep. So when will coastal rowing be in the Olympic Games?
Los Angeles, 4 years' time.
4 years from now. And it's interesting because we just saw in that video an interview with James McRae, an Olympic silver medalist and bronze medalist, joined with Olympic silver medalist Cam Girdleston to race at the Australian Coastal Rowing Championships and didn't win.
It's interesting, isn't it?
They didn't win, and I spoke to Jimmy and he said, Razor, we were rubbish at getting in and out of the boat.
Yeah, and that's one of the wonderful things about it. It throws some variety into it. It's not just about your rowing skill. There's a bit of sprinting, a bit of jumping in and out, as you say, and coordination. And it's fascinating how it's developing and how we're all learning about it. And also learning about how to read the waves and the conditions.
It's interesting, that's for sure. Now, another part of your remit is indoor rowing, and I know you're passionate about that, and you've been trying to take indoor rowing to new markets.
Oh look, we've got I've got a great. We employed Tufi a couple of years ago, Tufi Selly, who's come in as our indoor rowing digital engagement manager, and he's really getting this app going, this Row Nation app. And anybody here, come along to the tent. We're up by the cafe. You'll see the white tent there, where we're doing coastal indoor rowing, and you can come and have a look at the Row Nation app. That's not quite finished yet, but it will be prior to the games, this year's games.
Yep.
Yeah, it's coming along well. It's a really good way of engaging and bringing people together in the community with indoor rowing.
So you walk up through the merchandise area and you're the last tent on the left.
Correct, yep.
Yeah, before you hit the concrete at the top there.
And before you get to the cafe.
Yeah, so you've taken indoor rowing to places like the Northern Territory, is that right?
Yeah, and there's a really exciting project in place at the moment up in the Outback. We're taking indoor rowing out to the Outback as well. Barcaldine and Longreach. It ties in with the Outback Regatta.
Okay.
We're going to have some indoor rowing happening out there as well, which is fabulous, not just from the sports perspective, but also from the local folks' perspective. The health benefits of rowing, both indoor and on water, are really good, and we want to play those up.
Yeah. So Longreach, it's a bit like I was talking earlier today about Dan Noonan coming from Warren. Of course, Jack Hargraves comes from Ningen. Scotty Laidler, who rowed for Australia, he's a Longreach boy.
He is. His parents run a Shell petrol station, I think it is up there.
Yeah, so he probably never saw an ergo until he came to Brisbane to go to school.
No, well, I've got a location up there to run indoor rowing. I've got a physio up there who's going to be the coach for indoor rowing. We're going to go into the community with that. We're also doing some stuff with some other sports to get people doing some water sports up there.
Yep.
Because amazingly, there is water in the Outback. That iconic word Outback means one thing, doesn't it?
Well, there's a paddle steamer on the river there at Longreach.
It's actually out of the water at the moment because they bought one up, a 90-year-old boat from
down on the Murray.
Yeah. And when they got it up there, they had to transport it out of the water, and it then started leaking because it was no longer. Anyway, so they're fixing that up at the moment.
Well, that's a new one because there was an older one. I went on there 2 or 3 years ago with my wife.
Okay, yep.
Yeah.
No, it's a great spot.
It's appropriate that I went on an older one. Yeah.
I'm not going to say a word.
And you've also been fortunate enough, the late Louis Petrin, who was a great volunteer here at this regatta, had gathered an incredible array of Olympic memorabilia, and you're going to have a display up here on the for the rest of the week.
Yeah, look, I had a phone call a few months ago from one of the members of the Union of New South Wales Oarsmen who said, look, we've got this collection that needs a home. Do you reckon Rowing Australia would be able to help? I said, he gave me some details. I came and saw it. Spoke to our CEO, Sarah Cook, who thankfully got it. She look, give it a go. Let's see what we can do. So we've borrowed it. We've taken it down to Canberra. It's in our Rowing Australia offices at the moment. There's just under 2,300 rowing books. There's memorabilia going back to the 1850s is the earliest tankard I found so far.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal stuff. They've lent it to Rowing Australia. It does still belong to the Petrin family. But I think one of the things that really pushes my buttons is just some of the history involved, and it's part of a wider thing for the sport. We've got a great history. It's one of the things that makes rowing so exciting. Things like the King's Cup. Yeah. There's some real history there, and it's good to actually know a bit about it. So we brought some of the Olympic memorabilia up here. It's in a little glass cabinet at the moment near the tent for the indoor rowing and coastal, and in between the tent and the cafe, undercover there. You can come and have a look at some of the stuff there. You can't touch it, but you can see it. Yeah. And we'll have some more things on display tomorrow when the new cabinet arrives. It's worth having a look. And it's part of a wider thing we're trying to do with capturing some of the information that's out there. Andrew Gearan, as you know, for history.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do now is just trying to bring that into one location.
Yeah.
There's some work going on, another project we've got on the run with some former women rowers, Australian women rowers, who have been starting to collect some of the women's rowing history.
Yeah.
Because there's very little that's actually
Margaret Mackenzie would be a great resource there, and
absolutely.
Other people.
But there's not a lot that's been actually collated. So if any clubs have got any information about, particularly on the women's side of rowing history, we'd love to hear about it, and see if we can just start to capture that and document that as well.
A lot of people may not know who Louis was, but I certainly remember him because he used to volunteer to hold the boats while medal presentations were on. And I think I gave him an Olympic team hat because my big wolf head wouldn't fit it. So, it was great. And my last question, Ron, is about the Outback Regatta. You're a great supporter of that. Just a few words about the Outback Regatta.
I think it's the first weekend in October this year. They'll supply boats. If you haven't got an 8 oars people to row, they can supply they will supply the boats for you. You just need to get there. And if you've only got a couple of you, there's Orphan Cruise, which is what I ended up rowing in when I went out there last year. Yeah. It's great fun, well worth it. The other final thing, just before I go, if I could mention, while we're here in the lunch breaks each day, we're hoping to give people the chance to try Coastal. Okay. And we have got some great indoor rowing activities on a couple of machines where you don't have to pull a monster score. You can just show your skill and go away with a great prize.
All right, so go up and see you at the top of the hill. You and
Tufi, myself, and Larissa, who's looking after Coastal, will all be up there. And,
Larissa Wiesenthal.
Exactly, the very same Larissa.
All right, Ron. Thank you very much.
Pleasure
for having a chat. And
thank you.
Good luck with all the initiatives you got going at the moment.
And good luck with your voice for another week of solid work. Great to have you here, Ray. Thanks, you very much. Take care. Bye.
Australia, electric vehicles. They're as charged as we are. BYO engine noises.
Senior sports dietitian with the Australian rowing team. I work in Canberra with the men's program on a full-time basis. So in rowing we use body composition assessments. That's things like doing skin folds and taking DEXA body scans to have a look at body composition. And I think a lot of people might think that and worrying about our athletes being too fat. And we see when they don't have enough to eat that we might lose lean mass and they might be a little bit less resilient to training.
Fueling for athletes is critical, and I think the most critical thing is it's not about the session they're in, it's about the next session and the one after and the one after.
When I'm in a heavy block of training, I like to make sure that I'm looking at the macros of my food and making sure the foods I'm eating are, I guess, complete and whole. Making sure I'm going for, I guess, complex carbs, eggs, full cream milk, making sure that my calorie intake is matching my calorie output and the foods I'm eating are somewhat calorific.
So I guess the big thing that we talk about with nutrition is the understanding that nutrition really affects your performance, whether it's racing performance or training performance. Like fundamentally, if you're not eating enough, the first thing that starts to suffer is your training performance. So really the understanding that you have to eat not only before, during and post to get the most out of the training. And if you're not eating, then all the training you're doing is really just going to waste.
A key nutrition point that I work on is timing my food around training, making sure you're fueling yourself properly for the training session, not just making gains afterwards. Otherwise, you won't go very fast.
If I'm not eating enough, I'll notice that my performances start going downhill. I'm not able to produce as much power as what I usually would. And obviously that can also lead to injuries and bone stress fractures and muscles tearing. So it's just really important that I get that nutrients in so I can front up every day to have the best sessions I can have.
Well, I guess the way I say it is you find yourself bonking during sessions. You don't have enough energy to get through the session. You're not getting the benefit you want out of the session because you can't get through the session. So yeah, it's like driving down the highway and running out of fuel, you're not going to get to your destination.
If I don't eat enough, I find that I couldn't rip the skin off a custard. Honestly, I've got absolutely no energy whatsoever. So fueling is very important, and if I don't do it, I know about it.
What we notice is a falling off in the back of training, so losing posture, losing concentration, struggling to finish the workload, and then turning up to the next session really tired, really jaded, not in a good mental space.
I think with female athletes, particularly here, our philosophy coming in and starting the National Training Centre at late 2016 was that we wanted, athletes that were foremost, big and performing.
It's a really big focus that we have in the program to eat well, to do the training that we need to do, and to use the training to develop the type of rowing physique that we need to perform well on an international stage.
Hi guys, I'm Alex Hill, current world record holder on the 30-minute erg. Come join me on Row Nation, some of the other Australian athletes doing a bit of fitness work on the erg.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Post lunch break to the afternoon, day one here at the Australian Rowing Championships 2024. I'm Chris McCarthy, joined here by Richard Dorstein, who has travelled almost through the night from the head of the Schoolgirls Regatta to be with us here this afternoon. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you, Chris. Good afternoon. Yes, it's great to be here. It's been a bit of a long trip. For some reason, I chose the route by road to get here rather than most of the athletes who raced yesterday in Geelong, or flew up and raced quite well this morning, I see. But yes, so they've had a far busier time than I have. But no, it's great to be here. Nice and calm and air-conditioned up here. The view out the window is fantastic. The water looks brilliant. So it should be a great 6.5 days still remaining of this regatta.
So the first race in our program after lunch, race 54, the first heat, first of two heats of the under-21 lightweight women's single scull. In lane 2, Layla Struthers from Rockhampton Fitzroy, coached by Kim Byrne, Matthew Thompson. Lane 3, Unley Highs, represented by Scarlett Shanks, coached by Daniel Ralph. Lane 4, Townsville JCU, represented by Nisha Hammond, coached by Harrison Parks. Lane 5, Sydney Rowing Club, Sarah Berritry, coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths. Lane 6, Emily Graham from University of Queensland, coached by Michael Russell. And in Lane 7, Emily Lang from Loreto Marriott. For the next 3 hours through till 5 o'clock for this evening's program.
Indeed we are. Yeah, a number of lightweight events to begin this afternoon's programming, Chris. And we were talking outside just before coming on air about it's great to see that there's still decent entries in these lightweight events, despite the certainly serious questions being asked about that category of the sport at the Olympic level at least. But this regatta, we've got some good fields in the lightweight events.
Yeah, especially even in the open events. I think it's probably one of the most well-subscribed lightweight fields that we've seen in recent years. In the Interstate Regatta, we've got all states fielding a Penrith Cup, and great to see.
Yeah, a number of those athletes actually will be appearing over these next few races as well. So we'll try and run through those interstate squads as we get there, as the racing continues. But this first heat, just through its first minute now, the under-21 lightweight women's single scull in certainly very, very calm conditions here at the Sydney International Regatta Centre. As I believe it was this morning as well. Certainly is rather warm and humid outside, but pretty good conditions as far as the water is concerned.
Yeah, there's not much to complain about really out there this morning. It's been the odd spot of a little bit of wind, but really just completely dead still out there on the water here, which is...
Happens all the time here, doesn't it? It's been 5 years since I was last here, but I believe the weather's always perfect in Penrith.
Yep, exactly. See, crew's starting to edge their way towards the end of that first 500. The scullers on your screen there. So Sarah Berritry from Sydney in the centre, and Emily Liang of Loreto Marriottville on this side of the course, who just a couple of weeks ago at the New South Wales State Championships had, I think, 14 or 15 runs down the course over 3 days, and entered 3 different single scull races, and and
that were 3 quite warm days too, weren't they?
They were quite warm, reasonably windy, completely varied conditions. It seems to have decided on under-21 lightweight as the category to pursue here at the National Championships, and leading through the 500-metre mark from Nisha Hammond of Townsville JCU. It was pretty much locked in a dead battle with Emily Graham of the University of Queensland.
The 500 metres it was Emily Lang, the South Australian sculler from Loretto Marriottville, who led it from Nisha Hammond of Townsville and JCU. Emily Graham in third place. And Sarah Berritry was definitely fourth there for Sydney Rowing Club. Scarlett Shanks of Unley High in fifth, and Layla Struthers from Rockhampton Fitzroy up in central Queensland in sixth position as they head up now to. So it'll be first and second to progress through the A final here from this first of two heats, and then the remainder of the field will go to a repechage. So that repechage will likely take place on tomorrow's program. The final won't be until Thursday, I imagine, the first of our A finals. So a bit of a rest possibly for the top two here, although based on what you're saying, Chris, they'll be in multiple other events over the next 2 days to sustain them in their boredom while waiting for the A final of this event.
Exactly, but top two don't look to be quite decided yet. It was pretty close through the 500 with Sculler on the far side there from Rockhampton Fitzroy, I believe. Townsville JCU rather, in lane 4, just not quite out of the running yet, but top two certainly not letting each other run away with it, despite both moving through to the A final.
Yeah, so they've certainly put a couple of boat links back on the rest of the field. Then have Emily Lang and Emily Graham, the two Emilys rowing lanes 7 and 6, so both closest to this finish tower or grandstand side of the course here. The camera side for those watching on the live stream. There's 0.6 of a second between them at the halfway mark, but it was Emily Lang of Loretto College Marriottville in Adelaide, leading it just from Emily Graham of the University of Queensland Boat Club. Third place then another Queenslander, Nisha Hammond of Townsville and JCU, ahead of Sarah Berritry from the Sydney Rowing Club. And Scarlett Shanks then was in fifth place from Unley High in South Australia. So 2 South Australians here, 3 Queenslanders. There are 6 in the field. The sculler over in lane 2 was a fair way back. That is Layla Struthers from the Rockhampton Fitzroy Rowing Club in lane 2, but in fact clearly in that shot she is still in the race, but certainly a fair way off our top 5 athletes at this stage, so it looks like she'll have to go via the repechage to continue in this particular event. The water completely calm in front of these lightweight single sculls as they make their way down. Of course, about a 90-minute lunch break just before, so the water had time to flatten out entirely, and just now light wake breaking out behind these scullers as they make their way down. A wonderful sight from up here in the finish tower, and the field certainly being led by the 2 scullers closest to us in the form now. It looks probably like Emily Graham of the University of Queensland may have put herself ahead of Emily Lang from Loretto Marriottville, but they remain comfortably our top 2 scullers, approaching now the 1500 metre mark.
Yeah, so I did say that Emily Yang might have decided on this event to pursue, but I was wrong.
Quite.
Did race the under-19 single this morning, winning a heat in that. So another race already in the legs. Doesn't look like it's going to affect her chances of going straight through to the final, which she will be glad for not having to do that extra race, but perhaps just taking its toll a little bit in the battle for the lead with Emily Graham of University of Queensland, as those two pull out to a fairly significant lead over the rest of the field. Nisha Hammond crossing that 1500 metre timing point in third, Sarah Berritry of Sydney in fourth, and then a little bit further of a gap back to our sculler from Unley High, Scarlett Shanks, and Layla Struthers from Rockhampton Fitzroy on the far side of the course.
Yes, the 2 Emilys certainly have cleared out now in the field. I think you're right, Chris. Those top 2 can start to prepare, you would think, for the A final in a couple of days' time, and the positioning's only important, I guess, as far as if the preferred lane system is needed later in the week, but all indications are here the weather forecast, I think, is pretty good over the next few days, so it's unlikely we will see a need to redraw the lanes away from the standard centre lane allocation, but certainly it will be if it stays as things are, although from here it does look like possibly Emily Lang has made up some ground again on Emily Graham, so maybe not content with second place after all.
Yeah, saw her do this exact thing at the state championships. Probably could have, conserved a bit of energy, but you're not going to at that point, are you? They've been within a length of each other the entire way down the course, and I'm sure it would be lovely for her to say that she's the top qualifier in both the under-19 single and the 21 lightweight single. So Of course, we're gonna race this one to the line here, and she just gets her bow ball in front. Emily Graham from University of Queensland, maybe just bringing things down a touch, conserving a bit of energy into the red boys the last 100 metres.
Yeah, well, they say that winning form is good form, so Emily Lang is going to continue doing that for the second time today, and she'll move through as the top qualifier from this first heat of the under-21 women's lightweight single scull. In the end, she'll take it by about 1.5 lengths, so I think Emily Graham certainly is content there to qualify in second place. So it's Emily Lang in first for Loreto Marriotteville, Emily Graham second for the University of Queensland. Third will go to the lane 4 sculler from Townsville and JCU. Nisha Hammond ahead then of Sydney Rowing Club lane 5, Sarah Berretree. Followed home by Scarlett Shakes of Unley High and also Layla Struthers from Rockhampton Fitzroy.
Confirming the results there, race 55, under-21 lightweight women's single scull. First place went to Emily Lang from Loreto Marriotteville. Second, Emily Graham of University of Queensland. Those two scullers through to the A final. Third, and to contest the repechage, Nisha Hammond of Townsville JCU. Sarah Berretree from Sydney Rowing Club in fourth. Scarlett Shanks from Unley High in fifth. Layla Struthers from Rockhampton Fitzroy in sixth. The winning time there, 8 minutes and 33 seconds. And on the course now, in the third 500 metres, we've got race 55, the second heat, second of two in the under-21 lightweight women. We have Callie McRae from Rockhampton Fitzroy. Lane 3, Scarlett Woodbury of University of Queensland. Lane 4, Charlotte Ball of Melbourne University Boat Club. Lane 5, Alex Perry Dalton from the Australian National University. Lane 6, Liesl Page from Sydney Rowing Club. And in lane 7, Alice O'Toole from Toowong.
Well underway through the halfway mark into the third 500 now of this second heat of the under-21 women's lightweight single scull. It was being led at the halfway mark. In fact, a similar pattern to the previous race. Lane 6 and 7 were the top two. So Liesl Page from Sydney Rowing Club in lane 6 was the leader from Alice O'Toole of Toowong. It was to be a few seconds between them two. In fact, at that time, they'll go through 1,500 metres very soon, and we'll see that it is pleasingly for you, Chris, the Sydney Rowing Club sculler, Liesl Page, who leads comfortably now. She's put a big gap back on the rest of the field. So Liesl Page goes through well clear of that distinctively coloured blue boat there of Alice O'Toole of Toowong in second place. Again, a pretty clear top two. Then Alex Perry Dalton of ANU would be third. Scarlett Woodbury from University of Queensland in fourth place. Then Charlotte Ball and Callie McRae, the remaining two scullers in the race, but once again a pretty clear top two. And Liesl Page, coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths, is very comfortably clear here.
Yeah, Liesl's had a pretty great built through the season really well, and ended up with a seat in the under-23 heavyweight women's quad for Australia. So fantastic result there, and here racing in the under-21 lightweight category looks to be making pretty easy work of it, really.
Yeah, certainly showing her versatility as well. But I think the lead was about 3 to 4 seconds at halfway. It's way out to about, I think it was close to 10 seconds at 10.5, in fact, yes, after 1,500. So a very strong, certainly third 500 metres. And will comfortably go through to the A final here, directly through to Thursday's racing. But it sounds like she'll have a couple other races along the way before that as well. And still in second place, it is Alice O'Toole, the sculler from the Toowong Rowing Club in Queensland, coached by Alex Field and Claire Raven. Just needs to keep an eye on the ANU sculler, Alex Perry Dalton, coached by Nigel Harding. And then a couple of lanes further across, Scarlett Woodbury from the University of Queensland, who are not quite close enough to the top two, but putting a bit of pressure on our second place sculler at this stage.
Yeah, that battle for third, which is largely academic at this point, just starting to put a little bit of pressure on our second place sculler. I think seen the danger here and responded a little bit, and with only 100 metres left to row, shouldn't be in too much trouble to head straight through to the A final.
To be the case, but the win indeed will go to Sydney Rowing Club. Their Lisa Page across and takes the win in Heat 2 of the Under-21 Women's Lightweight Single Scull. And then it will be the blue boat there, lane 7, Toowong, Alice O'Toole finishing in second place. About 2 lengths ahead of the lane 3 sculler. Scarlett Woodbury, who did move up 1 place there in the final 500 metres, ahead of Alex Perry-Dalton from the Australian National University. And then Charlotte Ball from Melbourne Uni, followed home by Callie McRae from the Rockhampton Fitzroy Rowing Club.
So confirming the results of race 55, the second heat of the Under-21 Lightweight Women's Single Scull. First place, Liesl Page from Sydney Rowing Club. Second, Alice O'Toole from Toowong. Those 2 crews progressing to the A final. Having to contest the repechage in third place, Scarlett Woodbury from University of Queensland. Alex Perry-Dalton from ANU in fourth. Charlotte Ball from Melbourne University in fifth. And Callie McRae from Rockhampton Fitzroy in sixth. The winning time there, 8 minutes 13.9.
20 seconds faster.
Yeah,
than
a big delta there. So on the course now, moving from under-21s to under-23s. Race number 53, the first heat of the under-23 lightweight women's single scull. In lane 3 from Team Vietnam, Boi Thi Tu Hin, coached by Joe Donnelly. Lane 4 from Griffith University Surfers Paradise, Olivia Cook, coached by Christopher Holliday and Duncan Free. Lane 5 from Tasmania University, Sophie Robertson, coached by Sean Finlayson. Lane 6 from Toowong, Jemima Powell, coached by Alex Field and Claire Raven. And Lane 7 from Sydney Rowing Club, Laura Cypher, coached by Lachlan Carter and Florence Griffiths.
Like a much closer race here too than we've seen in the last couple of heats as we go up to the under-23 lightweight women's single scull this time. So the next age category up for under-21. And it is again 2 heats, so the progression remains the same, first and second through to the A final, and third, fourth and fifth, as it will be in this heat, will go to the repechage on tomorrow's program. And race leader was in the centre of the course at the halfway mark, Sophie Robinson from the Tasmania University Boat Club. About to say rowing in their distinctive red boats, but she's not. She's in a white boat, but in the red colours at least.
So it was the 500. It was Laura Cypher who probably got the better start. Sophie Robertson just finding that mid-race rhythm a little bit stronger. Just trying to see.
I think there was only about 0.66 between them at halfway. Those two, Grace Cypher of Sydney and Sophie Robinson of Tasmania University. So it's still pretty tight now as they head up towards the 1500 metre timing point as well. And they are clearly our top 2, but yeah. There's not a lot between them at all.
Yeah, it's actually still really close at the 1500. They're going to have to race all the way through. I think as the bow balls are surging, I thought that was Laura just in front. But everything done very manually at the 500 timing points, and things consolidated a little bit under the timing system at the finish. So, but I think that might have just been Laura with a little bit more momentum. But let's see, this are the ones I think is going to come all the way down to the grandstand. In the under-23 lighty single. We saw Laura's sister take a pretty convincing win in the heat of the under-23 heavy single.
Yes, the Cypher sisters are such a big part of these regattas now, it seems to, turning up in lots and lots of different races. And certainly the case here, battling out for first and second place in this heat of the under-23 lightweight single. One of our international visitors from Team Vietnam over in lane 3, Boi Thi Tu Hin, coached by Joe Donnelly, is in third place, probably now under challenge also from Toowong's Jemima Powell in lane 6. And then we had also Olivia Cook from the Griffith University Surfers Paradise Club in lane 4. So all the crews or the scullers in the red colours on that far side of the course. But it is certainly, well, it still looks to be narrowly, I think, Laura Cypher of Sydney Rowing Club ahead of the Tasmania University Boat Club sculler Sophie Robertson. But they'll both be the 2 who will go through to the final from this opening heat.
Yeah, so both scullers fairly well secured in that place in the final, but they will be wanting to secure the best lane, especially in a lightweight event where you do get affected by the wind just that little bit more. It is pretty important to be putting your best foot forward to get yourself into the preferred lane, just in case something does happen and things are redrawn. And it does look to be Laura Cypher is doing the best job of that. But the Sculler from Tasmania University, Sophie Robinson, certainly keeping her honest the entire way down the course.
It's been a good race between those two. Barely a length separated them the whole way down. It will be just over that as they come across the line in the end. So Laura Cypher of Sydney Rowing Club takes out that first heat of the under-23 lightweight women's single. Sophie Robinson in second place for Tasmania University Boat Club. They'll both go through to the final. Then the light blue boat there of the Team Vietnam, Sculler in lane 3 in the national colours there, comes across in third place. So she'll go through to the repechage tomorrow. Fourth will go the way of Toowong's Jemima Powell, and then fifth place from Griffith University Surfers Paradise. It will be Olivia Cook in a few strokes' time to complete the field in race 56, the first heat of the under-23 lightweight women's single scull.
A confirmation of results there, race 56 in the under-23 women's lightweight single sculls. First place, Laura Cypher from Sydney Rowing Club. Second place, Sophie Robertson from Tasmania University. Those two crews through to the A final. Third place, Booty Tu Hin from Team Vietnam. Fourth, Jemima Powell from Toowong. And in fifth place, Olivia Cook from Griffith University Surfers Paradise. Those three crews contesting the repechage tomorrow. The winning time, 8 minutes, 10 seconds. As we look down the course, the second of our two heats here in the under-23 lightweight women's single scull, well underway. In lane 3, Lucy Tegleria Cade from Melbourne University Boat Club. In lane 4, from King's College in Queensland, Inez Kritzler, coached by Jono Tannehill. In lane 5, from Canberra Rowing Club, Abby Richards, coached by Mark Kwiatkowski and Jeffrey Brown. And in lane 6, from Sydney University Boat Club, Phoebe Teal, coached by Alfie Young and Alan Bennett.
Heading up towards the halfway mark now of this race. So I feel there's 4 scullers here in the second heat of the under-23 lightweight women's single. The top 2 will go through to the final directly.
It does look like we just have one not start. So the King's College sculler, Inez Kritzler, not appearing in this race. I've got it here as did not start, not as scratched.
No, that's why the numbers did not make sense across the course. But yeah, definitely a vacant lane there.
Good reminder to get the scratching in, because it is a $250 fine.
Yes. Inflation affecting everything, including the cost of scratching without notice, but it is certainly far more helpful for the officials to be able to run the races if they know which boats will be there in each case. It's Lucy Tegleria Cade from Melbourne University on the far side of the course. Still trying to get my bearings here, Chris. That's the southern side of the course, isn't it? Over there away from us?
Yes, it is.
The southern side of the Sydney International Regatta Centre, which of course was the large grandstand side when the Olympics were held here back in 2000. But Lucy Tegleria Cade from Melbourne University and Phoebe Teal of Sydney Uni on lane 6. Certainly our top 2 scullers.
And neither one really letting off the gas.
Absolutely
in this one. 1.18 seconds. I suggest it was even closer than that. It was about a canvas between the two scullers, with the Melbourne University sculler just leading at the 1500 metre mark, and Phoebe Teal from Sydney University Boat Club sitting down in second. Both of them know they're pretty comfortably not going to have to race tomorrow, so probably will be a little bit more comfortable in spending a few extra bickies to get themselves a better lane in the final. They're not under too much pressure from Abby Richards from Canberra at this stage, who will likely have to row the repechage.
And Lucy Tegleria Cade, certainly I know, is a member of the Victoria Cup team that'll race on Sunday in the Interstate Regatta. They finished 4th the last 2 years, the Victorians. They actually did a row over the course during the Head of the Schoolgirls on the weekend as a demonstration of the fact all 4 had come from the Victorian Schoolgirl program and moved up through into the state team. So a great example of the pathways available to school athletes to move up to the higher levels of the sport. They all raced in their school zoot suits on that day, or did a row over in their school colours in the Victorian state crew. But it does look like the sculler on this side is the one who's going to get the better of this finish, I think, from Sydney Uni. That is Phoebe Teal from Sydney University, coached by Alfie Young and Alan Bennett, who looks from here to have taken the lead in this race. A couple of lanes between these two scullers across the course, but Phoebe Teal of Sydney Uni and Lucy de Glaria-Cade of Melbourne University. The very clear top two. They're both going to go through to the final regardless from this second heat. Second and final heat.
Suggest as well, actually, all three would probably go through to the final because we've had one not start. That does bring the field down to 8, including the 5 in the last
Yes,
heat.
this is
So
true.
I think we probably wouldn't even have a repechage in this event. Happy to be corrected on that. But good news for the three scullers who can go directly through the final in the last race.
They've all had a warm-up row on the course now and can do it again possibly on Thursday, but certainly it'll be Phoebe Teal who will take one of the centre lanes whenever the next race may be. She is the winner of Heat 2. Wins it by a couple of lengths, 7.01 seconds in fact, over Lucy de Glaria-Cade of Melbourne University. And third place will go to Abby Richards of the Canberra Rowing Club. In between those two scullers, she is coached by Mark Kwiatkowski and Jeffrey Brown.
So confirmation of results for race 57, the under-23 lightweight women's single scull. First place, Phoebe Teal from Sydney University Boat Club. Second place, Lucy de Glaria-Cade from Melbourne University Boat Club. And in third place, Abby Richards from Canberra Rowing Club. The winning time, 8:26.66. As we turn our attention back down to the course, switching over to the men's, we have race 58, the first heat, the first of 2 heats of the under-23 lightweight men's single scull. Lane 2 from Commercial, Nicholas Langford. Lane 3 from Toowong, Sam Parry. Lane 4 from North Esk, Oscar Birtwistle. Lane 5 from Mercantile, Alex Tomanovitz. Lane 6 from Tasmania University Boat Club, Angus Painter. In lane 7 from North Esk Rowing Club, Laurie Dean. And in lane 8 from Adelaide Rowing Club, Joshua Lascock.
I think I heard Dion Birtwistle racing earlier today, Chris. I think the two Birtwhistles rode together last year, didn't they, in the state crew? Is it father and son who
father and son,
raced
bound
together?
stroke seat in the Open Lightweight 4 and then in the Penrith Cup crew, which placed 4, 2 seconds outside of the medals for the Penrith Cup.
Oscar Birtwistle racing for the North Esk Rowing Club there in lane 4, who is certainly up the leading few in this race. Also, in fact, 2 North Esk scullers, Laurie Dean on lane 7, both coached by Trevor Barrett at the North Esk Rowing Club in Launceston, where the North Esk and South Esk rivers meet and become the Tamar and flow up north into Bass Strait, but a wonderful area as far as rowing is concerned on the wide waters of the Tamar, and these two scullers clearly joined in this here as well.
And they'll team up with Angus Painter, who's sitting in 4th, along with Alec Patterson, to form the Penrith Cup crew for Tasmania at the end of the week on Sunday afternoon. As we mentioned before, the Penrith Cup with a full fleet of entries from every state, which is fantastic to see.
Always, lightweight racing by its nature does tend to produce close results, and with 7 boats across the course in that Penrith Cup race, it should be a fantastic event towards the end of Sunday's program. So
especially if conditions stay like this, and we've got beautiful conditions for rowing, and should produce some absolutely fantastic racing later on in the week.
We have managed to get all the Tasmanians in the one heat here, and they're looking very close to the trifecta, possibly. So they're a clear top 5. It is first and second only through to the A final, so it does look like it'll be the 2 North. Just ahead of Angus Painter of Tasmania University Boat Club, who's coached by Sean Finlayson in lane 6 as they do approach the last, the Red Boys now, the final 100 metres of the course, and these 2 North Esk scullers having a bit of a look at each other too, I think, to Oscar Birtwistle wants to get past Laurie Dean, but I'm not sure he's quite going to in the closing strokes. A pretty long, powerful strokes there from Birtwistle as he heads towards the line, but the wind's going to go the way of his North Esk clubmate and Penrith Cup crewmate as well. It'll be lane 7 first. Laurie Dean for North Esk wins it ahead of Oscar Birtwistle, also from the North Esk Rowing Club in northern Tasmania. Third will go to Toowong on the far side, breaking up the Tasmanian trifecta. So Sam Parry third, 4th goes to Angus Painter, and 5th in between all those scullers, Alex Tomanovitz from Mercantile. Sixth then will be Commercial's Nicholas Langford, and seventh place from Adelaide, Joshua Lascock, racing in lane 8.
A confirmation of results in race 58, the first heat of the under-23 lightweight men's single scull. First place, Laurie Dean from North Esk. Second place, Oscar Birtwistle, also of North Esk Rowing Club. Those two progressing through to the A final. Third place and through to the repechage, Sam Parry from Toowong Rowing Club. Fourth, Tasmania University's Angus Painter. Mercantile's Alex Tomanovitz in fifth. Toowong Sam Parry in... Nicholas Langford from Commercial in 6th, and Adelaide Rowing Club's Joshua Lascock just crossing the line now in 7th. The winning time for that one, 7:31.56. As we move to the second of our two heats in this event, race 59 is just through the 1,000 metre mark now in lane 2 from University of Queensland, Riley Williams, coached by Michael Russell. Lane 3 from Mercantile, Benjamin Whitby. Lane 4 from University of Western Australia, Oliver Cliff. Lane 5 from Black Mountain Rowing Club, Matthew Rickard. Lane 6 from UTS Haberfield, Angus Dunstan. Lane 7 from Melbourne University Boat Club, Damien Schroeder. And in Lane 8 from Fremantle Rowing Club, Jacob Sangster.
A field of 7 here in this second heat of the under-23 lightweight men's single scull, just through the 1,000 metres now, and it's being led by the sculler there on lane 7 from Melbourne University. Damien Schroeder is in first place ahead of Jacob Sangster from Fremantle. Alongside him, lane 7 and 8. Just 3/4 of a second between those two at the halfway mark. Then Riley Williams was in third place. Benjamin Whitby, Oliver Cliff, Matthew Rickard and Angus Dunstan. The field of 7 in this second heat as we look to book 2 more spots in the A final of the under-23 lightweight men's single scull.
It does look like one where our top two have a little bit of a gap on the field, but don't quite want to let either one of them get away with it. And we've got a little bit of a tight battle between Damien Schroeder from Melbourne University and Jacob Sangster from Fremantle, on both on this side of the course in lane 7 and 8.
I'm not sure what's happened there to the lane 8 sculler. He was quite on terms with Damien Schroeder at halfway, as we saw on our pictures. Now, to me, he looks to be well back in the field. So certainly the lane 7 sculler, Damien Schroeder, has cleared right out to take a substantial lead. Jacob Sangster is still rowing there for Fremantle, but and would still not be too far away from second spot, it must be said, but is no longer as close as it was. So maybe just a very, very powerful third 500 from the sculler from Melbourne Uni.
Suggests that something's gone awry there, unfortunately.
I think so,
Lane 8. Closely following umpire's boat. Still rowing though, so hopefully nothing too serious going on there, but Damien Schroeder gets the benefit from whatever's gone on there and extends his lead to 4.5 seconds over Riley Williams of University of Queensland. Benjamin Whitby from Mercantile sitting in third. Oliver Cliff from University of Western Australia in fourth. Matthew Rickard from Black Mountain in fifth. Jacob Sangster just ahead of Angus Dunstan from UTS Haberfield, 7th place.
So the beneficiary of whatever's happened to Jacob Sangster looks like it will be Riley Williams of the University of Queensland over on that southern side on lane 2, with move up into second place now for the sculler from UQ. Just ahead of Mercantile's Benjamin Whitby would be a length or 2 off the pace, still away from second place. And then pretty close together alongside him, Oliver Cliff, University of Western Australia, Matthew Rickard of Black Mountain Club in the ACT. And then it's Sangster leading Angus Dunstan of UTS Haberfield. In any case, it continues to be a clear lead to the sculler from Melbourne Uni. Riley Williams of the University of Queensland probably has closed that a little in the last section of this race, but looks now pretty comfortably set to go through regardless. And the lane 7 sculler, Damien Schroeder from the Melbourne University Boat Club, is about 3 or 4 lengths out from the strokes out from the finish line now, as he's about to come across and take the win in the second heat of the under-23 lightweight men's single scull. So Damien Schroeder in first place, a comfortable second now to Riley Williams from the University of Queensland. Then Mercantile's Benjamin Whitby ahead of the Call that a pink boat, Chris. Oliver Cliff of the University of Western Australia. I've been accused over the weekend of getting my colours wrong, but
maybe a dark salmon.
A dark salmon? There's one crew in Melbourne called Strathcona who now row in coral pink. It's a particular shade, coral pink and blue, would you believe? But in any case, Oliver Cliff will finish in 4th place in whatever colour boat that is. 5th will go to Matthew Rickard of Black Mountain. 6th looks like Angus Dunstan of UTS Haberfield, just ahead of Jacob Sangster, who is still rowing the full slide, so I can't see any signs of an equipment issue, but hopefully all is okay there with Jacob Sangster of Fremantle, and he'll get the chance to go race again in tomorrow's repechage.
So confirmation of results there in the second heat of the under-23 lightweight men's single scull. In first place, Damien Schroeder from Melbourne University. Second, Riley Williams from the University of Queensland. Those two scullers through to the A final. In third place, Benjamin Whitney from Mercantile. University of WA's Oliver Cliff in 4th. Black Mountain's Matthew Rickard in 5th. UTS Haberfield's Angus Dunstan in 6th. And Jacob Sangster of Fremantle Rowing Club in 7th place. Now on the course now, race number 60 on your program, the first heat of the Open Lightweight Women's Single Scull. First of just 2 heats in this event. In lane 2 from Wendouree Ballarat, Kelly Egan. Lane 3 from Buckingham, Verena Zilm. In lane 4 from Melbourne University Boat Club, Kana Kukamasa, excuse me. In lane 5 from the University of Western Australia, Hayley Rowe. In lane 6 from Banks Rowing Club, Antonetta de Cosmo. And in lane 7 from Team Vietnam, Pham Thi Tao.
They've just gone through the halfway mark at 2 of that race. The leading few scullers at least have. It was the Tasmanian sculler from Buckingham, Verena Zilm, who led the field there through on lane 3, ahead of Pham Thi Tao from Team Vietnam, in second place on lane 7. Antonetta de Cosmo of the Banks Rowing Club was in 3rd place. She was racing on lane 6, ahead of Hayley Rowe, Kelly Egan and Kana Kukamasa of Melbourne University in lane 4 in 6th place. Heading up towards 1,500 metres now. Again, we look for the top 2 to go through here from this second heat of the Open Lightweight Women's Single Scull. And was Verena Zilm in the Buckingham Rowing Club colours across in lane 3. And then a good race on this side with Pham Thi Tao of Team Vietnam leading the Victorian sculler Antonetta de Cosmo from Banks, another member of that Victoria Cup crew, the lightweight quad scull, but she sits in 3rd place. The sculler from Banks ahead then of Hayley Rowe from the University of Western Australia. Wendouree Ballarat's Kelly Egan on the southern side of the course. And also Melbourne Uni Kana Kukamasa. But there are the splits now as they go through 1,500 metres. This race will be on Thursday for the Herald and Weekly Times Trophy to the winner of the Open Lightweight Women's Single Scull. And Verena Zilm has it pretty comfortably still. 4.37 seconds she has over Pham Thi Tao of Team Vietnam. Verena Zilm coached by Abby Crow and Pham Thi Tao by Joe Donnelly. Our top 2 in the qualifying spots at this stage. And it was the Banks sculler still 3rd. Antonetta de Cosmo ahead of Hayley Rowe, Kelly Egan and Kana Kukamasa of Melbourne Uni, who may in fact be in 5th, pretty tight for 5th and 6th place in fact between those two. But I think Kana Kukamasa was in 5th at 1,500 and Kelly Egan, the Wendouree Ballarat sculler, in 6th position on that southern side of the course.
So Verena Zilm, a bit of a comeback, I believe. I don't know too much about her, but I do know that was previously, or originally from South Australia and represented Australia at the under-23 level in the lightweight double alongside Georgie Masters a couple of years ago, 2018, 5th in the A final.
Okay, yeah.
But now rowing in Tasmania for the Buckingham Rowing Club. And
as so many lightweights are required to do now, isn't it?
It's always a rite of passage.
Exactly.
It was a period of time where all of the top lightweights in the country were training in Adelaide. Oh, in Adelaide. In Tasmania.
In Tasmania.
It's only day one.
Yes, or in fact, yes, even slightly south of Hobart on the very calm, protected waters down there in the south of Tasmania. It was a great breeding ground for Australian lightweight rowing for a long time. But it'll be the Buckingham sculler here from who trains on the Derwent River in Hobart. Verena Zilm from Buckingham, coached by Abby Crow, and leads her by a couple of lengths now from Team Vietnam. In second place it will be as our top two. The qualifiers for the A final will come across shortly in race 60. So it's Verena Zilm first, Pham Thi Tao in second place for Team Vietnam. The bank sculler has put the cue in the rack, and going past her is Hayley Rowe from the University of Western Australia, lane 5. She'll take out third spot, coached by Roland Warren, Mia Williams and Jonathan Jaski. And Tomato de Cosmo of Banks will finish in fourth. Fifth will be Wendouree Ballarat. I think with, yes, Kelly Egan moving back into fifth place after all that. And sixth looks like it'll go to Kana Kukamasa of Melbourne University.
Confirmation of results there in race 60, the first heat of the Open Lightweight Women's Single Scull. In first place, Verena Zilm from Buckingham Rowing Club. Second, Pham Thi Tao from Team Vietnam. Those two scullers through to the A final. In third place, Hayley Rowe from University of Western Australia. Fourth, Antoinette de Cosmo from Banks. Fifth, Wendouree Ballarat's Kelly Egan. And in sixth place, Kana Kukamasa from Melbourne University Boat Club. The winning time there, 8 minutes 12.06. Second race, the second heat of the Open Lightweight Women's Single Scull underway now. And in lane 3, we have Holly Wardlaw from Sydney University Boat Club. Lane 4, Maggie Foley from Corio Bay. Lane 5, Lara Glendenning from the University of Western Australia. Lane 6, Izzy Emery, also of the University of Western Australia. And in lane 7, Annika Reardon from the Australian National University.
Yes, we believe the lane 3 sculler not in this race. So Holly Wardlaw from Sydney Uni was a scratching, a late scratching it seems.
Somewhat unsurprisingly, Annika Reardon from the Australian National University out in front, about 5 seconds up at the 1,000 metre mark. Around the double with Georgia Miansaro, and we'll be looking to firm up their selection in as the Australian lightweight women's double for this year.
Yeah, plenty to race for there, certainly for those two ladies here across this week. So hopefully book their trip to Lucerne first, isn't it? And then hopefully onwards from there to the Paris Olympics. So that journey continues as far as that lightweight double scull is concerned. So Annika Reardon on this northern side of the course. Across on the southern side to Maggie Foley from Corio Bay, who's coached by Lee Hall-Sullivan. I can tell you, as far as Victorian regattas are concerned, she wins almost every event that she goes in, does Maggie Foley. I recall the opening afternoon of the Victorian State Championships, which is the short program on the Friday afternoon, largely for the elite open athletes. And I think she took home a swag of medals just in a couple of hours at that afternoon on what at the time was a very placid Lake Wendouree. It didn't last, unfortunately, for the remaining 2 days of the regatta, but it was fun while it lasted. So Maggie Foley's been very successful in Victoria, and again a member of the Victoria Cup crew, but sitting here in second place against behind that very well credentialed sculler, of course, in Annika Reardon from the Australian National University. So they are our clear top 2 here, with about 400 metres now to race.
She's put in a pretty decent third 500 there, Maggie Foley. Like, she has closed the gap by about 1.5 seconds up to Annika Reardon, who of course is competing at an extremely high level. So for Maggie Foley, I'm sure we're very happy to be sitting in that position and keep applying that pressure all the way down the course, knowing that she almost certainly will not have to row the repechage tomorrow.
Great match racer too is Maggie Foley. She's won the women's single at the Australian Henley Regatta on the Yarra 4 years in a row, so very good at pacing herself in elimination style match racing too, which is pretty much what's playing out here in the course for the top 2 so far, clear of the other 2 scullers in the race. Behind them we do have in lane 6 from the University of Western Australia, Izzy Emery, and in fact both these scullers from the University of Western Australia. So Lara Glendenning in lane 5, Izzy Emery in lane 6. Those two also having a match race of their own in adjacent lanes, but it's a race for 3rd and 4th, and they'll both have to do it again in the repechage to come on tomorrow's program. But it's Annika Reardon and Maggie Foley, who might still have made up some more ground here in the closing, or the last couple of 100 metres. She's certainly having Lining herself up for a strong finish is the sculler from Corio Bay, who trains on the waters of the Barwon River down in Geelong, and she's moved up to be within a length now of Annika Reardon in the closing strokes of this race. So they're both going to progress through to the final of the Open Lightweight Women's Single Scull and race for the Herald and Weekly Times Trophy in a couple of days' time. Annika Reardon will keep her boat in front, but Maggie Foley has certainly closed well in the second half of that race. They'll be under a length in it as they go across, but the win will be to Annika Reardon of the Australian National University. Maggie Foley, Corio Bay in second place on lane 4. And then those two powered away from the two scullers from Western Australia. It'll be Izzy Emery third and Lara Glendenning in fourth place.
Confirmation of results for race 61, the second heat of the Open Lightweight Women's Single Scull. First place, Annika Reardon from the Australian National University. In second place, Maggie Foley from Corio Bay Rowing Club. Those two scullers through to our A final on Thursday. And contesting the repechage will be Izzy Emery from the University of Western Australia in third and Lara Glendenning of the University of Western Australia in fourth. The official time, that one, 8 minutes and 8 seconds. Keeping with our lightweight theme, heat of the Open Lightweight Men's Single Scull well underway. In lane 3, Sam Casey from Tasmania University Boat Club. Lane 4, Alec Patterson from Cand and supported by the Queensland Academy of Sport. In lane 5, Din Te Duc from Team Vietnam. In lane 6, Liam McCoy from the University of Queensland. And in lane 7, John O'Lock from Griffith University Surfers Paradise.
The last two of our lightweight heats coming up on the program now. We head to some underage double scull racing next, and do that for a fair bit of the rest of the day as well. But two heats here of the Open Lightweight Men's Single, and Alec Patterson is our leader at the halfway mark of this opening heat. The sculler from the Cand Rowing Club in Queensland, and quite a substantial lead it is to the sculler there on lane 4 over our Team Vietnam visitor, Din Te Duc from Team Vietnam, lane 5 in second place, but there was over 10 seconds between them after 1,000 metres. And then narrowly second was the Team Vietnam sculler over alongside him, the University of Queensland, Liam McCoy, who was third. So that's probably the interesting part of this race, with just 2 spots on offer here into the final of the Open Lightweight Men's Single Scull. And we're about to see as they come through 1,500 metres if our leader from Cand has extended his lead. Alec Patterson across there comfortably in first place. He's coached by Ben Southwell and Gus Rodero at the Cand Rowing Club in Brisbane, and certainly it remains a substantial margin, but there has been a change in second place now with Liam McCoy of the University of Queensland, coached by Michael Russell, making it a Queensland Quinella at this point, just ahead of Din Te Duc from Team Vietnam, also coached by Joe Donnelly. And then we go back to 4th and 5th. It'll be the scullers on opposite sides of the course. Sam Casey of Tasmania University and John O'Lock from Griffith University Surfers Paradise.
So race leader Alec Patterson, formerly of the Buckingham Rowing Club, Tasmanian, and will be in their Penrith Cup crew later on in the regatta. But he had a great run of form recently and has been rowing the double with Hamish Harding, and got invited to the trials to row that boat, but unfortunately not being selected for the season. So out here possibly with a bit of a point to prove.
I suspect so, yeah.
So really taking a good margin out of the field. Maybe just relaxing a little bit in the closing stages now, but he's done the work early and will be sitting pretty confidently. Be pretty confident that he'd be straight through to the A final on Thursday.
So a Tasmanian who was lured to Queensland too.
Don't hear that much for the
No, but anyway, strange. Times are changing, obviously, in the world of light. Well, they certainly are in the world of lightweight rowing. Possibly not for the better, but in any case, it's been great to see these lightweight races so far this afternoon. And we continue on now into the closing strokes of this race with the sculler there in the Cand colours from Brisbane, Alec Patterson. It is who leads comfortably. It's not quite the 10 seconds it was, or 11.5 seconds after 1,500 metres, but there'll be a comfortable about 2.5 length win over Liam McCoy from the University of Queensland, and then the blue boat of Team Vietnam. Our race winner, very, very comfortable in the closing strokes. Eventually comes across and takes the win. Alec Patterson first on lane 4. 2.5 lengths to Liam McCoy. University of Queensland finishes second. They'll go through to the A final, and then Dinh Tay Duc of Team Vietnam will be third. Fourth will go to Sam Casey, and fifth place, Jono Locke.
Confirmation of results in race number 62, the first heat of the open lightweight men's single scull. First place, Alec Patterson from Camden, supported by the Queensland Academy of Sport. Second place from University of Queensland, Liam McCoy. Those two scullers through to our A final. In third and moving through to the repechage, Dinh Tay Duc from Team Vietnam, Sam Casey from Tasmanian University, and Jono Locke from Griffith University Surfers Paradise. The winning time there, 7 minutes 29.15. Second of our two heats in the open lightweight men's single scull. Race 63 on your program is well underway at this point. Crew's just coming through the 1,000 metre mark. So in lane 3 we've got Joshua Lascock from Adelaide Rowing Club. Lane 4 Jordan Roberts from Mercantile Rowing Club. Lane 5 Wyatt Batt from Sydney University Boat Club. Lane 6 Nick Zigiter from Banks Rowing Club. And in lane 7 Jonathan Adams from the Australian National University.
Past the halfway mark of this race as well. It was Jordan Roberts at the 1,000 who had the race lead there. The sculler in lane 4 from the Mercantile Rowing Club in Melbourne. Nick Zigiter in second place behind him. Another of the Victorian scullers here today. Wyatt Batt was in third place for Sydney Uni on lane 5 in the centre of the course, ahead of Jonathan Adams from ANU and Joshua Lascock of Adelaide in 5th place.
All four of these...
Is he actually in that race? I'm just trying to... We've got 4 scullers there.
4 out there.
And I do recall saying Joshua Lascock's name only about what seemed 15 or 20 minutes ago, so maybe he's not in the field at this stage. In fact, yes, confirmation. Joshua Lascock of Adelaide did not start in this race on lane 3, so it is a field of 4. I think he may have rode in one of the underage single scull races not that long ago, which is why obviously he couldn't take part in both events. Yes, he was 7th in the under-23 lightweight men's single. That was the 220 race, so a little bit too close between events there for the sculler from South Australia.
So all 4 of these scullers on the course now represent their states in the Penrith Cup later on in the week. Our 2 leading scullers, Nick Zigiter from Banks and Jordan Roberts from Mercantile, who is maybe just dropping back into 3rd, actually, as we can see on the screen, just getting rowed through by Wyatt Batt from Sydney University Boat Club. So those 2 scullers are going to be in half of the Victorian Penrith Cup crew, the defending champions from last year. Slightly changed crew, but mostly the same, I believe. Wyatt Batt will be back in the New South Wales crew, hoping to improve on last year's results, as will... I believe they competed last year, but Jonathan Adams from the Australian National University is in the Australian Capital Territory lightweight men's 4, who did not have a crew last year, and I'm sure Stuart John will be able to tell us when the last time it was that they had a crew. I don't think it was that long ago. I know they had one in 2019 that was quite handy and had a good tussle with the New South Wales crew. I don't know if there has been one since then.
No, possibly not, but... yeah, it'd be great to see those all those crews back on the course, and it's the state competition in lightweight rowing remains extremely intense. Nick Zigiter leading here for Banks in the open single. Looks set to go pretty comfortably through ahead of the sculler alongside him, Wyatt Batt from Sydney Uni. Certainly the Mercantile sculler Jordan Roberts has dropped back a fair way into 3rd place, but in fact with just 2 to go through, that is a substantial change in progression as far as he's concerned. But no such concerns for Nick Zigiter of Banks, coached by Brendan Scott, and he'll come across in a couple of strokes time to take the win on lane 6. So it's Banks in the 1st place and Sydney Uni Wyatt Batt very comfortable in 2nd place as well. And they'll be our 2 qualifiers from this 2nd heat, the final heat of the open lightweight men's at single scull. Jordan Roberts will, who did lead it halfway narrowly, but will end up, it looks like, in 3rd place here. just ahead of Jonathan Adams from ANU.
As our last two scullers cross the line, we'll confirm the results of the second heat of the Open Lightweight Men's Single Scull. First place and through to the A final, Nick Zigiter from Banks Rowing Club will be joined by Wyatt Batt from Sydney University Boat Club. And contesting the record charge, Jordan Roberts of Mercantile in third and Jonathan Adams of the Australian National Uni in fourth place. The winning time, 7 minutes 36.04. Your program under the first heat of the under-17 women's double scull. First of 6 heats here in the under-17 women's double scull. So in lane 2, Commercial Rowing Club, Tyra Jensen and Annika Gundlach. Lane 3, a composite of Leichhardt and Nepean Rowing Clubs, Jessica Harris from Nepean, Grace Conroy from Leichhardt. Lane 4, a all-commercial crew, Summer Phillips and Sienna Becker. Lane 5, PLC Sydney, Frankie Riley and Emily Barrett. Lane 6, a Griffith University Surfers Paradise and Commercial Composite, Bethany Peaty from Commercial and Dahlia Ferraro from Griffith University Surfers Paradise. In Lane 7 from Mossman Rowing Club, Eloise Stevens and Elise Coates. And in Lane 8 from Mossman Rowing Club, Emily Plowman and Erica Nutt.
So we're halfway through this first heat now of the under-17 women's double scull, and it is Commercial leading it here. One of the two Commercial doubles. It's lane 4, I should say, from lane 2 at this stage, as far as Commercial is concerned. And then the Mossman combination also on this northern side of the course. The lane 7 crew sits in second place. So Commercial lane 4 were the race leaders, Summer Phillips and Sienna Becker. Mossman lane 7, Eloise Stevens and Elise Coates. And third at halfway was Tyra Jensen and Annika Gundlach, also from the Commercial Rowing Club of Brisbane.
Commercial, as I mentioned earlier on today, might just be a bit of a story of this regatta of just a massive junior program. They came to the New South Wales State Championships and with a couple of 8s and a whole bunch of quads, and really cleaned up, did very, very well. And the leading crew here, Summer Phillips and Sienna Becker, they both took out their heats in the under-17 single scull this morning by pretty fair margins as well. So certainly one to look out for, and definitely looking at the class of the field here.
They are. Now, it's been good to see the changes in Commercial in recent years. I think I heard Ray mention them earlier today. It's predominantly largely a Masters club in years past, but they've certainly developed a very strong junior program. Jacinta Edmonds, I know, is very involved also in the coaching at Commercial Rowing Club, so it's great to see her progress too from the racing to coaching side of things. They had a series, I think, about 4 8s racing in the head of the arrow too, so they are going far and wide around the country to get some competition, which is always the best way to get some racing experience, of course.
Yeah, and that Mossman crew sitting back in second. So only one crew will move straight through to the finals, looking like that Commercial crew. Just under 3 seconds back, we've got the Mossman combination, Eloise Stephens and Elise Coates. Elise Coates had a cracking season as well, taking out the Year 10 single at the Schoolgirl Head of the River, racing for Northern Beaches Secondary, and very, very convincing win. Indeed, that was just 2 weekends ago. And backing up to pretty handy double scull here as well.
Very close to lead too. I think those two from Mossman. What gap there was with Commercial looks to have closed a bit here, but those two have pulled well clear on the rest of the field. It's first only to the semi-final here, which explains why they are racing so much for top spot. We've had several races where the top 2 have gone through.
But St. Mossman are right in there, actually.
Absolutely.
It's going to come right down to the finish.
Doing so, they've certainly gone well clear of the rest of the field. Third now, to me, looks to be Griffith University Surfers Paradise and Commercial Composite crew of Bethany Peaty and Dahlia Ferraro. So Commercial still involved in a number of these crews, but their crew on the far side now, Jensen and Gundlach back into probably 4th place, and also then PLC Sydney, Frankie Riley and Emily Barrett moving through. But Commercial and Mossman here with just a few strokes to go. That greyish boat of Commercial in the centre of the course looks to still be in the ascendancy here over the white shell of the Mossman Rowing Club. And it's only going to be about a 1 length margin or so on the line, it looks like, to Summer Phillips and Sienna Becker, coached by Ross Batho and David Vandis, the crew from Commercial. They'll be the first boat through to the semis of the under-17 women's double scull. Just over a length their margin of victory over Mossman in second place, Eloise Stevens and Elise Coates there. So two very good double sculls racing all the way down the course, but only one can go through directly to the semis. The remainder of the field to the repechage. Third place will be that Queensland composite crew, Petey and Ferraro. Fourth to Commercial, the far side, Jensen and Gunluck. Fifth to Leichhardt, Nepean, Harris and Conroy, followed by, that'll be PLC Sydney there in the red colours, and one more combination from Mossman as well to complete the field of 7.
Confirmation of results in the first heat of the under-17 women's double scull. First place and through to the semi-final, Commercial Rowing Club. Second and to the repechage, Mossman. Third, Griffith University Surfers Paradise Composite with Commercial Rowing Club. Fourth, Commercial Rowing Club. Fifth, a Leichhardt Nepean Composite. Sixth, PLC Sydney. And seventh place, Mossman Rowing Club. The winning time, 7 minutes, 51.25. Heat number 2 on the course now. Race number 65 in lane 2, Loretto Kirribilli, Scarlett Courts and Lily Loiterton. Lane 3, Trinity Lutheran College, Chloe Fielding and Emily Dobbin. Lane 4, St Patrick's Townsville, Keely Abadar and Emily Edison. Lane 5, Hunter Valley Grammar, that's Isabel Nichols and Georgie Jones. Lane 6, St Mary's College, that's Sana Gisvand and Ella Stryker. And in lane 7, a composite of Sydney Rowing Club and Pymble Ladies College, Heidi Heap from Sydney Rowing Club and Kelly Clifton from Pymble Ladies College.
We're halfway through this second heat now. The second heat of 4 in the under-17 women's double scull. And it was St Mary's College, our leaders. St Mary's from Tasmania, Sana Giversand and Ella Stryker, coached by Susan Weeding, who were the race leaders there. In second place, the Sydney PLC side of the course, and then in third it would have been St Patrick's of Townsville, Keely Adabar and Emily Edison, coached by Harrison Parks. We've seen plenty of rowers from St Pat's of Townsville on the course racing with some distinction already today as well, but they sit here in third place, it would be, behind our leaders on this northern side. And again, it's just one combination here to go straight through to the semis of the under-17 women's double scull. A big field here, in fact, Chris. We've got 4 heats. Oh, I lied. We had 6 heats. 6 heats. Keep turning the page. 6 heats of the under-17 women's double scull. We'll need reinforcements, and luckily they're right behind us because I haven't had lunch yet. But apart from that, this is the second of the 6 heats. So the winner only straight through to the semis. And it looks like St Mary's of Tasmania narrowly holding off Sydney PLC and also St Patrick's of Townsville.
And the under-17 men's double, which follows it, another 6 heats. And the under-19 women's double, which is after that, another 6 heats. And as with the under-19 men's double, and back on this afternoon. So some very well-subscribed events as St Mary's College Townsville just get themselves into the race. And we might actually have a really good race here to the line. There is only one spot directly through to the semi-final. A lot of these girls will be already racing singles this morning and may possibly have to race singles repechages tomorrow. Won't want to add a double sculls repechage into the mix. Any race off is going to be certainly welcome for these girls. But our early race leaders were St Patrick's College Townsville, who are still our race leaders, but St Mary's College in Tasmania really knocking on the door there, as are the Sydney and Pymble ladies composite on the near side of the course, who are really in the mix now, actually. So it's going to come right down to the closing few hundred metres as they cross the 1,750 metre mark and approach our grandstand at rapid pace.
Yeah, 3 good chances across the course here. They haven't been separated by too much most of the way down. It continues to be the case now in the final 250 metres. So St Patrick's Townsville in lane 4, St Mary's of Tasmania in lane 6, and the Sydney PLC composite lane 7 are the 3 crews. It does still look like that Queensland combination, Keely Adabar and Emily Edison, are slightly better placed, but gee, there's not much in it still than the St Mary's combination. So confusingly, Chris, looked to me to be in the light blue of Sydney Rowing Club, but they're very similar colours there, those two boats.
Indeed they are. But all one composite on this side.
This
so
is true.
That's all. Just about the only way I can tell that apart.
But to make it easier, I think the light grey boat from North Queensland is going to take this one out regardless. So a strong finish looks like coming up to Keely Adabar and Emily Edison of the St Patrick's, the growing program at St Patrick's College in Townsville, who were so strong in the Queensland Schools Championships and also the Queensland State Championships this year. And they'll take out this heat now by about 2.5 lengths. So St Patrick's Townsville first on lane 4. Second will go to St Mary's of Tasmania, Sana Giversand and Ella Striker. Third to the Sydney and PLC composite crew, Kelly Clifton and Heidi Heap. Fourth will be the bright green of Trinity Lutheran on lane 3, followed home by Loretto Kirribilli in 5. In lane 2, I should say, in 5th place. And lane 5 will finish 6th, Hunter Valley Grammar. And I'm going to have lunch, Chris, and it'll be Ben Homer and Owen Nix to come in shortly.
Thank you, Richard. Confirmation results there for race 65. First place, St Patrick's College, Townsville. They're through to the semi-final. Second place, and to contest the repechage, St Mary's College. Third, the Sydney Pymble Ladies Composite. Fourth, Trinity Lutheran. Fifth, Loretto Kirribilli. And sixth, Hunter Valley Grammar. The winning time there, 8 minutes and 4 seconds, .61. As I head off for a little break, and as we said, Owen Nix and Ben Homer to take you through the next hour or so.
Thank you, Chris. Alrighty, well, we keep rolling here. It is a glut of heats here in the under-17 women's double scull. So just confirming Isabel Nichols, Georgie Jones crossing the line from Hunter Valley Grammar there in 6th in that second heat. So we've got heat number 3 now, and in lane 2 from Loretto Normanhurst, Stella Moore and Patricia Boland, coached by Thomas Parker, Lily Gavin and Mark Featherstone. In lane 3, Commercial Rowing Club from Queensland, Olivia Grant, Holly Fleming, coached by Ross Batho and David Vandis. In lane 4, Genesis Christian out of Queensland, Jessica Carroll and Tiana Cutts, coached by Ray Smith. Annabelle McKenzie and Georgie Twelvetree from Unley High and Newcastle Grammar in 5. Imogen Stewart and Lucy Pinelli from St Mary's College, they're coached by Marita Code, Susan Weeding and Sam Vachoch, and they're from Tasmania. And then in lane 7, Gippsland Grammars, Tara Dehood and Lily Canfield, coached by Helena Singleton. So that's the field here. First through to the semi-final, Owen, and then the rest through to the repechage. So very cutthroat in this under-17 women's double.
And they've had the same, and they had the same in the single scull this morning. So once again, progressing through, and Unley High School, Newcastle Grammar School faring very well. You can just see to the left of your screen there, bow just starting to appear as they focused on the Loretto Normanhurst crew. They're coached by Thomas. Number 5, Annabelle McKenzie, Newcastle Grammar, and Georgie Twelvetree of Unley High School that are in the lead as they come up towards that 1500 metre mark. It looks like they've got a lead around about 3/4 of a boat length. They come through that juncture. And in 3rd place we have the commercial crew of Grant and Fleming. They're followed by Carroll and Cutts of Genesis Christian. So they're the top 4, as Ben mentioned, first through. There's then a bit of a gap to the 2 crews on this side. St Mary's College from Tasmania and Gippsland Grammar from regional Victoria in that race for 5th and 6th. But it's all about the race for first and who can go through to the semis.
Yeah, and what's fantastic about this crew out in front, Annabelle McKenzie and Georgia Twelvetrees, they've got bright orange ribbons in their hair, so you will not miss them as they come into view here. And a good advantage. So what was it at the 1500? 1.39 over Loretto Normanhurst, who are over in lane 2. So that gap looks pretty similar to what it was at the 1500 metre mark. So 250 metres to travel. It's still that Newcastle Grammar Unley High composite out in front. Loretto Normanhurst in 2nd. Commercial back in 3rd. Then Genesis Christian were in 4th place at the 1500. They're in lane 4. They look to be potentially edging up into 3rd, but in the end, that's not really going to matter because the battle is between the top 2, and you can see the lift. The lift has come from Stella Moore and Patricia Boland from Loretto Normanhurst. They are desperate to get this first place and get themselves straight through to the semi-final. But it's Annabelle McKenzie and Georgie Twelftree who are just leading at the moment. There's probably about 50 metres to travel. Loretto Normanhurst are coming for them, but they have been able just to hold on and drive home this advantage. The Grammar Unley High Composite, and they are going to be the first through to the semi-final here. And unfortunately for Loretto Normanhurst, they are going to have to go through the repechage. So Annabelle McKenzie, Georgie Twelftree, the Unley High Newcastle Grammar Composite through to the semi-finals. Stella Moore, Patricia Boland, they get second. Third goes to Commercial, Olivia Grant and Holly Fleming. Jessica Carroll and Tiana Cutts from Genesis Christian in fourth. Fifth place will be Imogen Stewart and Lucy Pinelli from St Mary's College out of Tasmania. And then there's no bow number on the Gippsland Grammar crew. They are going to come through in sixth place. Tara D. Hood and Lily Canfield rounding out this field in the under-17 women's double heat 3.
So the unofficial time, 7:47.48 for the Unley High School Newcastle Grammar School Composite, ahead of Loretto Normanhurst in second, Commercial Rowing Club third, Genesis Christian School in fourth, St Mary's College fifth, and Gippsland Grammar placing sixth. Heat number 4 is race 67. It's the under-17 women's double scull. And the field that we have, Mossman in lane number 2, Frida Kirkham and Lottie Raverstein. Lane 3, St Patrick's Townsville, Georgia Cresswell and Holly Wilkie. In lane 4, MLC School, Ashley Denton and Sophie Winnell. In lane 5, St Patrick's Townsville, Matilda Schroeder and Layla Strickland. Lane 6, Radford College, Isabel Egan and Gigi Hickey. And Mossman are in lane number 7, Selena Panetta and Lola Balmain. So they've passed through that, coming up to about the 1,250 metre mark. How do you see that transpiring, Ben?
Well, we haven't got the times through, or we have actually, the 1,000. I was just having a look down the course, and it looked as though Radford College on this near side moving pretty nicely up the course, but they're at a bit of an angle. They may have just had an issue with their course. Mossman on our time, you can see here, 3:51.40 out in front. But the crew's second in from the left as you're looking from the grandstand side, which is Radford College out of ACT. Look to be just straightening their line, and they're moving up the course nicely. So they are in a battle with Mossman at the moment for that first place. And they were back in third at the 1,000 metre mark. I know they weren't too far behind, but still it was about 4 and a bit seconds. So I don't know whether that was a line issue or whether they were just going through their race plan, and this middle 500 is where the difference has been made. So you can see the 1,500 metre here. It is going to be Mossman, Kirkham and Raverstein are going to cross in first. And I thought for a moment my eyes were going to be deceiving me. But yeah, Radford College is still there. St Patrick's Townsville, but it is a sizable gap. Certainly to the naked eye, it doesn't look as though it's that big a gap when you're looking down the course. Owen, would you say that as well? Looking down the course, it doesn't look like that big a gap, but it's about 6-7 seconds.
Yeah, 6 1/4 seconds coming through that 1,500 metre mark. Frida Kirkham, Lottie Raverstein, Mossman Rowing Club, coached by Ben Whitewolf, Tom Schramko and Kieran Kabelke. Frida Kirkham, the daughter of Zach Kirkham, who was in the Australian 8 in 1998. And they're in a very well placed here with around about 300 metres still to cover. And Radford have been very strong in the back half of this race as they fighting it out with St Patrick's Townsville for that second spot, and see if they can sort of close that gap a little bit. But 250 metres to go, and it's the red and white hoops of Mossman that are out in front.
It's a big gap to pull back, isn't it? About 7 seconds from the 1,500 metre mark. So that's why Mossman are able just to ease things off a touch as they close in here on the last 200 metres. It's Radford that have to do the work along with St Patrick's Townsville. You can clearly see the gap back to St Patrick's, Townsville. But Radford have been pretty impressive, as you said, Owen, in this back end of the race and look to have just snatched second. But that is going to be academic in the end because Frida Kirkham and Lottie Raverstein have a few boat lengths to the crews in second and third. So they will have to go through the rapid charge. So it's going to be Mossman Rowing Club who are going to be the fourth crew through to the under-17 women's double scull semi-finals, and they go through in first. Georgia Cresswell and Holly Wilkie go through in second. They have to go through the rapid charge. Radford College's Isabel Egan and Gigi Hickey in third place. We see MLC School coming up now, and they are going to cross in fourth place Ashley Denton and Sophie Winnell, and then in fifth is another St Patrick's Townsville crew and Matilda Schroeder and Layla Strickland. And we've got one final crew, it's the other Mossman crew, which will cross in sixth.
We move now to heat number 5 of the under-17 women's double scull. And once again, first progressing through to the semi-finals, the rest go through to the rapid charge. In lane 2, St Mary's College, Tasmania. Ruby Whiten and Abby Smith, coached by Susan Weeding. Lane 3 is Commercial, Evie Sayer and Matilda Dammers, coached by Gary Townsend and David Vandas. Sydney Rowing Club in lane 4, which is Mabel Oxenham and Xenia Palmer, coached by Charles Patterson. In lane 5, Newcastle Grammar School, Heidi McKenzie and Kensington Steele. 6 is Buckingham from Tasmania, Zoe Brooks and Ella Nicholas, coached by Hamish Johnson. And in lane number 7, the Centenary, Brisbane and GPS Composite, Willa Dunbar and Greta Knott. Coaches are Maddie Pacquiella, Nigel Stubbs and Michael Stelton. They are starting to make their way up towards the 700 metre mark. And the crew right on this side of the course, Dunbar and Knott, faring very, very well. They had clear water at the 500 metre mark over Commercial Rowing Club, which is crew second from the far side of the course. Let's see. GPS and Centenary in the lane closest to the bottom of the screen or to the northern side or grandstand side of the course if you're at the venue. So first through to the semi-finals, and this crew very handy. Greta Championship in and they're looking pretty good here as they come up towards around about the 900 metre mark.
And just having a look with the binoculars, yeah, it's a decent gap for Willa Dunbar and Greta Knott. It was almost it was over 4 seconds at the 500, and that's a big gap, isn't it, at the 500 metre mark? Usually you're saying sort of, you know, 1s and 2s maybe. Even then, that's a big advantage. So what is it here at the 1,000? 348.60 they go through. Doubled that advantage now, and some. 8 seconds. So they could almost just put it down a couple of gears and save themselves a little bit of energy for the semi-finals. This is almost perfect script, isn't it? If you're trying to get yourself through to the semi-final, you get yourself through and you've got a big enough
He said to him, you've got an 8-second lead at half. Sydney Rowing Club in second spot, and it is Commercial Rowing Club in third, and they're then followed by Mackenzie and Steele of Newcastle Grammar, and then back to Buckingham and then St Mary's College, so the two Tasmanian crews in 5th and 6th. So first going directly through to the semi-finals. The others will get the second chance via the rapid charge.
So we've got under-17 women's double scull. Then off the back of this, we've got under-17 men's double scull. And I think Chris said, yeah, we've got 6 heats in the under-17 men's double scull, just like the under-17 women's. Similar story. Plenty of racing to come this afternoon. We've got a couple of hours left. Rowing championships, and as you can see, Willa Dunbar from Brisbane and GPS, Greta Knott from Centenary Rowing Club, coached by Maddie Pakila, Nigel Stubbs and Michael Opstelton. It is looking very nice for them out in front. They've got to just get themselves through now the last 500 metres or so. Still rowing very nicely, aren't they, Owen?
Yeah, and they haven't really dropped it back too much. They've still kept the stroke rate relatively high and still just creeping that little bit further away.
What have you got that stroke rate at out in front? Always interested to just having a look at those crews seconds. So 9 seconds back to Mabel Oxenham and Xenia Palmer from Sydney. Commercial in third. So your little device there, Owen, you've got them at a rating of 30, so still moving quickly. And they've got about 250 metres to travel. So really good prep for them. And they get a break as well, so they don't have to go through the repechage, which is one less race. It's always very helpful on the Monday, knowing that you don't have to go through that extra race to get yourself through to the semi-final.
Well, particularly if you had the single scull as well, if you might save yourself 2 races, which come Thursday morning you'll be pretty thankful of when you come to the sprint. So, yeah, we'll see how this crew progresses. It looks like a semi-final awaits them.
Well, wouldn't you love the view of that pelican there? It's getting up nice and close and personal here. It's got a beautiful view of this race and the technique on show here from Willa Dunbar and Greta Knott. And they are just strokes away now from moving themselves into the semi-final. You can see in second is the Sydney duo of Mabel Oxenham and Xenia Palmer, coached by Charlie Patterson. So they will go through to the repechage in second place. Always important to be a little bit higher just in case there's a draw around lanes due to weather conditions. So that will help the Sydney combination. I'll go through in second, but out in front, it's the Queensland combo, Centenary and Brisbane and GPS, Dunbar and Knott. They are straight through to the semi-finals in the under-17 women's double scull. Second place is going to go to Sydney Rowing Club, Oxenham and Palmer. We've got Commercial now coming through in third place. Sayer and Dammers, that's Evie Sayer, Matilda Dammers, and then Newcastle Grammar in fourth, Heidi McKenzie and Kensington Steel. And then a couple of boats still to cross the line. We've got another Tasmanian combination, Zoe Brooks and Ella Nicholas. They come through in fifth, and St Mary's College from Tasmania, Whiten and Smith, come through in sixth. So that time, unofficial, 7:53.49 for Dunbar and Knott.
Race 69 is the 6th and final heat of the under-17 women's double scull. In lane 2 we have Trinity Lutheran from Queensland. That's Sophie Clifford and Charlie Newman. In lane 3, Pembroke School from South Australia, Abby Young and Mia Chapman. Mersey are in lane number 4, Eloise Philwick and Matilda Spalding. In lane 5, Radford College from the ACT, Hannah Koch and Lucy Mahalovic. In lane 6, Walford Anglican School, Imogen Griffith and Olivia Masters. And in lane number 7, the second of the Mersey crews from Northern Tasmania, Leah Clemens and Molly Clemens.
So we're getting through those 1,000 metre splits, and it is lane 2, Trinity Lutheran College, Sophie Clifford, Charlie Newman out in front on the far side of the course from the grandstand side. Just a 2.38 second advantage at the 1K. We're getting those updated 1,500 metre split times. You can see they've gone through in first. Wow, that gap really has widened, isn't it? That third 500 so crucial, and it's out to 7.2 seconds. Mercy, Walford Anglican and Mercy rounding out the top 5, and then Pembroke back in 6th place. So, well, it was the moving 500, and Clifford and Newman from Trinity Lutheran out of Queensland. They have opened up a gap, and you will not miss them because they have got those wonderful bright green colours. You love something a bit different, don't you, Owen? And it's so easy to remember as well. And they're doing things nicely.
Yeah, they wouldn't have had too many clashes when they went to register those Udis. So very bright and easy to see. And yeah, they'll be quite possibly the first one the judge will see crossing the line here, coming up through the 1750. And they've got that Clearwater advantage over Radford College, who are third from the grandstand side of the course. And a good race going on for third between the two crews from Mersey and Walford Anglican from South Australia. Pembroke look like they're destined to finish 6th in this one. They've got a little bit of Clearwater, but from their bow to the sterns of those two Tasmanians and the fellow South Australian crew ahead of them.
Still got that rating up on the far side. Trinity Lutheran College, Clifford and Newman, coached by Eric Rowan and Victoria Earl. As was the case in the previous heat, they are going to go through to the semi-final. So Sophie Clifford, Charlie Newman, about 20 metres away now from punching their ticket through to the semi-final. And that is where Trinity Lutheran College will be heading next in the under-17 women's double scull. Second place is going to go to Radford College out of the ACT, Hannah Kosh and Lucy Milhavich. And they come through in second. Third place to Mercy, Fieldwick and Spalding. Fifth is going to go to Walford Anglican, Griffith and Masters. Then sixth to Mercy, Clemens, and then Young and Chapman from Pembroke School. They will come through and round out this field in 6th place. And that time, unofficially, 8:03.05, Trinity Lutheran win heat number 6.
Okay, race number 70 is the first heat of the under-17 men's double scull, and it's now just passing its way through that halfway mark. The field that we have, Ezekiel Pratt of Nepean and Peter Simkovich of Leichhardt in lane 1, James Stubbs, Tom Waterworth of Hutchins in 2, St Virgil's, Saxon, Van Anholt and Llewellyn Gray are in lane number 3. Lockie Belleville and George Charles are the St Patrick's College Ballarat crew in lane number 4. Rory Parker, Hamish Wise from St Augustine's in lane 5. St Patrick's College Ballarat, Isaac Kopka-Velhus and Frank Putty are in lane 6. James Grant, Nicholas Kelso of Brisbane Grammar in 7, and Christopher Vlahos and Luke Martin of Glebe in lane number 8. That was the St Virgil's crew from Tasmania that led them through that halfway mark. And it does look as though we've only had 7 crews come through, so it looks as though we might have had a scratching out of the Hutchins crew out of lane number 2. Looks like a big gap between the St Virgil's crew and the Leichhardt Composite over on the far side of the course.
Yep, definitely no crew there in lane 2. So this is the big test. Brisbane Grammar with 2.34 off St Virgil's. That was lane 3. On the far side, lane 7, closer to this near side. So 2.34 at the 1K. Where is the gap at the 1500? Is it closing? Are Brisbane Grammar going to give themselves a chance to go through because it's only first through? Or is it going to increase here? So on screen you can see that is the crew from St Virgil's. 2.34 the gap at the 1K. What is it here at the 1500? Looks as though it's increased. 7.24. Third 500 can do to the gap between first and second, or any gap really. St Patrick's College out of Victoria in third, St Augustine's in fourth, and then crews further back, St Patrick's College also in fifth, Leichhardt Nepean, and then Glebe in 7th place. Always great to see some club crews as well as the school crews in these events. And there's a wonderful shot, isn't it?
That's right, we're looking right across at the, in fact this is the following race, in fact, so that's race 71 that we had the camera focusing on, and we're back to race 70 now, and that's with St Virgil still in the lead coming through. They've gone through, coming up towards the 1800 metre mark and got a good advantage over Brisbane Grammar School, and I think it's a decisive one here, first through to the semis, and it looks like it'll go to the Tasmanian combination coached by Oliver Wilson-Haffenden. Brisbane Grammar still putting plenty on the end of the handles of this one and trying to hold off St Patrick's College, and they look well clear of them. Fourth, St Augustine's. Next is the other St Patrick's crew. Big finish, as we're used to seeing from Ezekiel Pratt of Nepean over on the far side of the course with Simkovic of Leichhardt. But I think they've left their challenge far too late in this one to claim too many placings ahead of them. St Virgil's coming up towards the line and will claim the win. They're followed home by Brisbane Grammar in second place, and St Patrick's College, Belleville and Charles will be third.
You can see that finish, can't you, Owen? On the far side, look at this from Leichhardt and Nepean. I tell you what, they have almost snatched it, but they're just going to miss out. Great finish. That was entertaining to watch. They get edged out for the top four. They go through in 5th place. St Patrick's College Victoria in 6th, and then Glebe 7th place. So 7:07.68 the time for St Vigils out of Tassie, and they go through. They're the first crew through to the under-17 men's double scull semi-finals.
Race 71 is heat number 2 of the under-17 men's double scull. In the field that we have Christian Brothers College from South Australia. Alex Evans and Luke Jones are in lane 1. Henry Lau and Jackson Taylor representing Rockhampton Grammar School in lane number 2. Charlie Arndt and Oliver Fumi of Wendouree Ballarat Rowing Club in lane 3. Thomas Coles and Banjo Morris Luck representing A&A Rowing Club from Western Australia in lane 4. Kine Baird and William Box of the Southport School in lane 5. Mossman Rowing Club in lane 6 with Leighton Showman and Floris Elias. Thomas Mytef and Michael Thomas, Newcastle Grammar School's combination in lane number 7. And Prince Alfred College from South Australia, Christian Smith and Nick Christensen. And they're coached by Thomas Johnson in the lane closest to us. And they're faring very well indeed.
Yeah, Southport School, Baird and Box, 3:30.93 through the 1K. Smith and Christensen 3 seconds further back. So it's a little bit of a gap opening up there in those all-important top 2 spots.
So that's the Southport School crew on screen right now, coached by Stefan Muhlenberg, who obviously his retirement from rowing coaching was short-lived, and he's relocated further down south to the Gold Coast where the Southport School are. They had a very successful head of the river. They won the Old Boys Cup, which is the overall point score, as well as the O'Connor Cup, which was for the first 8. So a successful program there being run by John Smythe, and this crew coached by Stefan Muhlenberg. And they've got a little bit of clear water coming into that last 500 from Prince Alfred College.
That's interesting. Prince Alfred College didn't let that advantage slip away too much. 3.74 at the 1500. That gives me some hope here, Owen. We could get a good finish. Are you thinking that we could get a tight one here? They're really ripping those blades through the water. Prince Alfred College on this near side. I think we're going to get a good finish here, and you can see the Southport School know that this is going to be a real tussle coming through. The rating from Prince Alfred College at 35. Look at them absolutely flying on this near side of the course. The Southport School trying to go with them. They're rating at 33. So the Prince Alfred College crew from South Australia, they have stepped up the rating and now overrating the Southport School in the middle of the course. So it's between those two crews for who is going to go through to the semi-final. It was 3.74 at the 1,500 metres. The gap between those two. Back in third place, you can see further back in the field is the crew from ANA and also Wendouree Ballarat. But at the front here, this is what it's going to all come down to. It's a battle between Queensland and South Australia. The Southport School, who have led for most of this race, Prince Alfred College coming at them in the closing stages. It looks as though it will be the Southport School who will just have enough of a gap to hold off Prince Alfred College, but they are not going away without a fight here. The South impressive back end of the race, but it is the Southport School. Opened up that lead early, and they hang on to a 2.73 second win. It was a really impressive last 500. They ate into that advantage by about a second. So it's going to be Mossman finishing in third, just edging out ANA. And then in fifth place is Rockhampton Grammar. Sixth will go to Wendouree Ballarat, South Australia. And in eighth place, we have got Newcastle Grammar.
Move to heat number 3 of the under-17 men's double scull. Lane 1, Radford College, Lincoln Uren, Charlie Knight. Lane 2, Corio Bay, Targ Bailey and Zander Bailey. Lane 3, Pembroke School, William Harvey and Charlie Miller. Lane 4, Trinity Grammar, Victoria, Will Johnson and James Devlin. And Lane 5, Trinity Grammar, Victoria, Charlie Harris, Patrick Board. Wendouree Ballarat are in lane number 6 with Flynn Sandlant and Tristan Colho. And then we have Nudgy in lane number 7, Dashiell Withnell and Elfie Piper. And in lane 8, Prince Alfred College, Athan Harlaftis and James Dixon.
So splits through here. Corio Bay leading by almost 6 seconds. Bailey and Bailey from Harlaftis and Dixon from Prince Alfred College in South Australia looking to get themselves through. We saw that Prince Alfred College crew in the last heat finish in second, and then Trinity Grammar third, Wendouree Ballarat fourth, rounding out the top 4, but it is first through to the semi-final. Owen, you'd say, I know you don't live here, but you're a local, you're a Cirque local, you hear many times throughout the season. Afternoon conditions here, how do these rank? Because it looks pretty perfect out there on the water.
Yeah, you take this. Often, in summer you used to get a traditional breeze, a nor'easter blowing, which is the coastal breeze, which would come here in the afternoon eventually, and you get a following conditions. But it's perfect here. And this Corio Bay crew making the most of it, coached by Jeff Watt, who is no stranger to coaching at national championships. He used to coach at Scotch College in Melbourne, and long time rowing partner of Jeff Sykes, and hence the Corio Bay Rowing Club, where Jeff Sykes is such a well-known name, and they've got a huge lead as they come into the last 500 metres. And once again, Prince Alfred College in second spot, but I think this PAC crew, even if they got the rating up to 38 like their counterparts in the last one, I think 7.96 seconds, that's a fair gap to try and reel in.
Yeah, that it is. Yes, so they're going to be bridesmaids in back-to-back heats here, Prince Alfred College. So close, but you would expect, I know it's hard to be sure of these things because there's so many crews going to the repechage, so you don't know which crews are potentially foxing, but you would think they'd be well placed come the repechage to perform well and potentially get themselves through to the semi-final. And because it's only one crew through to the semi-final, I think the depth is certainly there. So even if you go through the repechage, certainly there's going to be some good crews going through that. There's going to be some good crews miss out, obviously, but some great crews they're going to get through the repechage and into the semi-finals. Now, you can see here Prince Alfred College on the near side in second, but over on the far side, as they have been throughout this race, Corio Bay, it was out to almost 8 seconds at the 1,500 metre mark. Taj Bailey and Zander Bailey, coached by Jeff Watt. There's certainly a great finish. This is a trademark, Prince Alfred College. We talk about Kinross, Wallaroi and fast finishing. Well, Prince Alfred College is certainly going for it again here in this heat number 3. You would think they're probably going to eat somewhat into the advantage of the Corio Bay crew that they had at the 1500, but that's not going to matter. They're comfortably through, just stepping down through the gears, and Corio Bay, they go through in first. Prince Alfred College second again, back-to-back heats, so they have eaten into that advantage slightly. Third goes to Nudgee. Fourth goes to Trinity Grammar. This could be, well, was going to be tight for fifth. I think they've hit a buoy here, Wendouree Ballarat, and that's enough to allow Radford College to finish fifth, Wendouree Ballarat in sixth. And they are hurting. The Wendouree Ballarat crew. Pembroke School are going off at a very awkward angle. So they cross in seventh, and then Trinity Grammar from Victoria, they cross in 8th place. So heat 3, under 17 men's double. Corio Bay win at 7:18.04. Taj Bailey and Xander Bailey through to the semi-final.
And on the course now, race 73, heat number 4 of the under 17 men's double scull. Lane 2, Rockhampton Grammar, Lachlan Yench and Ryan Hendry, coached by Kimberly Brown. In lane 3, the Southport School from the Gold Coast in Queensland, George Schmidt and Harrison Howard, coached by Stefan Muhlenberg. Hunter Valley Grammar School in lane number 4, Bailey Crop and Angus Purdy, coached by Odin McIntosh and Rowan Hislop. In lane 5, St Joseph's Nudgee College, Angus Kovac and Fred Prosser. Lane 6, Brisbane Grammar School, Ezekiel Hutton and Oliver Kent, coached by Phil Morgan. In lane 7, Radford College, Oliver Horweg and Benjamin Beswick, coached by Stuart Sampson and Gordon Marks. And Redlands in lane number 8, Thomas Hooper and Angus McInnes, coached by Alec Price, Tim Robertson and James Petering. A good battle going on between Southport School and Rockhampton Grammar over on the far side of the course. And right on this side of the course we have the Redlands combination that are leading through the halfway mark. James Petering has headed up the Redlands program for quite a number of years now, and of course a Bicentennial Cup winner with Victoria quite a number of years ago, and a very long-standing coach there, and with some young coaches, Alec Price and Timothy Robertson, in charge of the Thomas Hooper and Angus McInnes crew, who you can see in the yellow and blue vertical stripes to the left of your screen. Still in the race lead, coming up to 1,400 metres covered.
And as you said, Stefan Muhlenberg, coach of the Southport School combination, Schmidt and Howard. I was going to say before, coaching, it never leaves you, does it, Owen? That burning desire to keep helping athletes improve. I just think of someone like Wayne Bennett, just keeps going, 70, almost 80. It's amazing to see, and it's great that good coaches stick around. And you can see here, it's certainly having an impact. This is a gap which is at 2.41 at the 1500, so they may get another crew here through to the semi-final. Baird and Box went through in Heat 2, coached by Stefan Muhlenberg, and, well, I think they're coming. They are certainly coming for the crew out in front at the moment from Redlands. Redlands in lane 8, Southport School lane 2.
Southport, they're at 35 strokes a minute. Redlands on this side of the course, and they're at 34 strokes a minute. And the Southport crew, as Ben mentioned, certainly coming at the Redlands crew as we come into the last 250 metres. There's very little separating them, in fact. And then in that race for third spot, we have Brisbane Grammar, Rockhampton Grammar, and then St Joseph's Nudgee College there in 5th position. And then there's a big gap back to Radford College in 6th and Hunter Valley Grammar School in 7th position. But Southport School have been very strong over the back half of this one.
How good is this? The finish we have been waiting for in the under-17 men's double. Heat number 4, remembering that it was Redlands who were leading at the 1500, the 1K as well, but the Southport School have come at them here. Schmidt and Howard. It was 4.3 seconds earlier in the race, the gap between first and second. It looks as though they may have turned this all around. That is incredible. And some. They've added a little bit to the advantage as well. They've turned it around and made it a couple of boat lengths. That is impressive. Back end of the race, rowing from the Southport School. That's amazing. Redlands will be stunned. Just wondering exactly how it all unfolded there in the back end of the race. That is most impressive. Nudgee, so Redlands second, Rockhampton Grammar third, Brisbane Grammar fourth, Nudgee fifth, Radford College sixth, Hunter Valley Grammar in seventh. So 7:11.77 from the Southport School. We thought we were going to get a close finish there, Owen. It went the other way. That was remarkable.
Yeah, the Redlands crew can still take plenty into the repechage for this one, and I'm sure if they put in a similar performance, they will see themselves get through indirectly to the semi-finals. Heat number 5 is race 74, and the field that we have: Hunter Valley Grammar School, Samuel Lonergan and William Hunt in lane number 2. Canberra Grammar School in lane 3 with Alexander Griffiths and Benjamin McGregor. In lane 4, UTS Haberfield, Matthew Geretta and Oliver Taylor. In lane 5 is North Esk, Jasper Twitchett and Samuel Detmer. In lane 6, Pembroke School, Jed Watson and Max van der Meulengraaf. And in lane 7, Trinity Lutheran with Teal Caheron and Kai Lice. And in lane number 8, St Joseph's College, Hunters Hill, Tate Fredrickson and Joseph Lane. It's the Canberra Grammar School crew on screen to the right of screen there. Griffiths and McGregor, coached by Thomas Hart. Now leading through that 500 metre split by around about a boat length over the North Esk crew that you can see on the left of screen there, with the cross on the Maltese cross on the back of their zoot suits. Maltese crosses were very famous on the back of rowing suits, and a few of the clubs have started to move away from those, Drummoyne being one. And then we have the UTS crew on screen there in 4th position. Ahead of them is Trinity Lutheran, which is the crew in lane number 7, so they'll be to the left of shot there. So Hunter Valley Grammar School currently in 6th position. Once again, first through to the semi-finals, and the rest go through to the repechage. So North Esk out in pursuit of Canberra Grammar School at the head of this 5th heat of the under-17 men's double.
Just the a history lesson, Owen. Maltese cross, what was the reason for it on the back of the zoot suits? Was there any? Don't have any?
Not sure, but yeah, it was something that was quite prominent with a lot of clubs, and now there's still a few with them, but a few that don't have them anymore.
Well, you notice it, don't you, with North Esk? You know it's North Esk because you see that Maltese cross on the back really stands out, and you can see here Canberra Grammar in front of North Esk. It's only 2.57 at the 1K. And it looks anyone's race, this between those front two. Trinity Lutheran in 3rd, so it's a 7-second gap, and it's a almost 10-second gap back to 1st. So it's between Canberra Grammar and North Esk, a battle between, you wouldn't say they're regularly rivals, would you, the ACT and Tasmania? But here we go. We've got one here in Heat 5 of the under-17 men's double. UTS in 4th, Pembroke 5th, Hunter Valley Grammar in 6th place.
So that all-important third 500 metres, as we've seen today in the singles and now in the double sculls. So Canberra Grammar to the right of screen, North Esk to the left of screen. North Esk with the rating right up. They're going for it. They're about 37 strokes a minute, so they're making a big
early,
push.
Isn't it? That is early at the 37, did you say?
I hope they've read the distance markers right.
Yeah, it's not 250 to go. That's 1250. 750 metres to go. There is the crew that's been leading for the most part. Alexander Griffiths, Benjamin McGregor, coached by Thomas Hart. So North Esk, as you said, their rating is very high. Well, it was there that Owen just calculated. You just wonder whether they will have the energy to pull themselves through. And if they do, well, there's certainly going to be a message for the rest of the field in this under-17 men's double. Okay, here we go. This is the the check. You'd say the health check of this race, because it was 2.57 at the 1K. And it is not going to be 2. Oh, that's almost a photo. You cannot split them. So we're going with 0.17, the distance between Canberra Grammar and North Esk. That middle 500. Here we go. This is the interesting final 500 after they really lifted. Can they keep it up into this last 500 metres? Because if they can, threat in this under-17 men's double scull. That is the crew of Jasper Twitchett and Samuel Detmer, coached by Richard. 2.57 the gap at the 1,000 to Canberra Grammar. Now just 0.17 at the 1,500, and they look to be going stroke for stroke at the moment.
Yeah, they've moved in front, North Esk, so I think they've watched the French pair video from 2000. They've still at 38 strokes a minute coming into the last 200 metres. They've got the advantage over Canberra Grammar School, and are still trying to mount some sort of response, but they're just still at it. These two, they're metronomic in rate, and not the longest of strokes, but plenty of them. And North Esk with the advantage, first through to the semis, rest through to the repechage.
Well, we're seeing this in the under-17 men's double. Crews that were not ahead at the 1,500 going through in first place. We haven't seen that a whole lot today, or especially in the last hour or so, but we're going to see it now in back-to-back races. So that is terrific racing from Jasper Twitchett and Samuel Detmer, through in first, behind at the halfway in the 1,500. High five for those two. Well raced, boys. And you are through to the semi-finals. Straight through. Free pass through to the semi-finals. The Canberra Grammar crew are going to have to go through the repechage. So too Trinity Lutheran, who will cross in third place. UTS Haberfield in fourth. Further back it will be Pembroke School from South Australia in sixth, and the Hunter Valley Grammar combination, they're going to finish in sixth place. So North Esk, their time unofficially 7:15:53 through to the semi-final, as Pembroke School come through now in fifth, and then Hunter Valley Grammar in sixth.
Race 75 is the sixth and final heat of the under-17 men's double scull. Lane 2, Hunter Rajapaksi and Stuart Ray. In lane 4, Brisbane Grammar School, Lachlan Kerr and Hudson Slater. Lane 5, Hunter Valley Grammar School, Harrison, Skelly Osman and Hayden Melmoth. Lane 6, Brisbane Grammar School, Oliver Kerr and Ashton Hamra. Lane 7, Trinity Grammar Victoria, Joe Sammartino and Daytona de Burgosian. And in lane 8, Oxenford, Joshua Pickering Pentland and Ryan Hitchler. And that's the field. They've already moved their way through the 1,000 metre mark. And it was Hunter Valley Grammar School that were the crew with the advantage.
So the gap back to second, Brisbane Grammar 2.64, not too far back. Third, fourth, fifth even. Go far as saying at the 1K, top 5 all still in with a chance of making it through in first place. But Foster and Walsh from Hunter Valley Grammar, coached by Odin McIntosh and Rowan Hislop, leading the way. But no clear-cut.
Brisbane Grammar have been very strong in this third 500. They've really pushed through in lane number 6. You can see them there ahead of their other crewmates Kerr and Slater.
And there you go. They have taken the advantage. Hunter Valley Grammar just dropped back, so they're back in fourth now. Brisbane Grammar first, third, Oxenford second. Wow, that's big. So almost 5 seconds now. And that's at the 1500 too, so they've shot through in that third 500.
So Oliver Kerr, Ashton Hammerer, coached by Amelia Connolly, is the Brisbane Grammar School crew in lane number 6. Coming up towards the 1700 metre mark and still with clear water, and looks like Oxenford are the ones in pursuit. Joshua Pickering Pentland and Ryan Hitchler on this side of the course, coached by James Harkham.
So can they pull it back? Are they overrating the Brisbane Grammar crew? It would look as though it is from the naked eye. That's the Oxenford crew from Queensland. Brisbane Grammar out in front. There's also some movement from Lachlan Kerr, Hudson Slater from Brisbane Grammar in the middle of the course. But it looks as though they're club mates, Kerr and Hammerer. Got a decent margin here, getting great distance, great efficiency per stroke. 36 is the rating. And now with about 200 to go, look at this. This is an impressive finish from the Brisbane Grammar crew on the far side. That's a crew further back you can see on screen from Brisbane Grammar. And this is Kerr and Hammerer, coached by Amelia Connolly. So they're through in first. Brisbane Grammar could go 1-2 here. This is a really good finish from Kerr and Slater. Yeah, they are. They're having a good look too. Just admiring their good work there. Slater and Kerr, they were giving them a look all the way down. Oxford Rowing Club, fellow Queenslanders, Pickering and Pentland and Hitchler, they go through in third. And, well, there's a big difference, isn't there, between the top 3 and these next 3 in terms of rating. They're all just happy to drop the rating and go through to the repechage, save a bit of energy. Hunter Valley Grammar 4th, 5th, Trinity Grammar 6th, 7th will go the way of Gippsland Grammar. So 7:23.44 that time for Brisbane Grammar, out in front of Kerr and Hammerer.
We move now to race 76. It's the first of the heats of the under-19 women's double scull, of which there are 6 heats. Brisbane and GPS are the crew in lane number 2. Poppy Yarsky, Abby Collins. Rockhampton Grammar School in lane number 3. That's Maeve Burnett and Greta McCosker. Sydney Rowing Club in lane 4. Georgina Stevenson and Amelia de Villiers. Manning River, Newcastle University. Compass, Zoe Armstrong, Newcastle University. Zoe Hutchison and Manning River in lane 5. April Harrison and Scarlett Tavaski of Gippsland Grammar are in lane 6, and Juliet Kelly and Sina Metzger of Fremantle Rowing Club are in lane number 7.
Well, there's a combo close to your heart, Owen. Manning River. You don't see that too often at the National Championships at the moment. And Murray Doust, Rowan Hislop coaching their 2 rowers in this race. Zoe Hutchinson from Manning and Zoe Armstrong from NUBC. So it's wonderful to see those 2 in this under-19 women's double.
Yeah, they giving a good go out there, but right out in front is this Fremantle crew, Kelly and Metzger. They are well clear in this one, coming up to the 1500 metre mark. They've got a huge gap over Sydney Rowing Club in second spot. Once again, first through to the semis, and then the rest go through to the repechage. And Fremantle Rowing Club from Western Australia look as though they're got this one pretty well sewn up.
Yeah, so very tough in these age group events today. First going through to the semi-final in a lot of them, singles and doubles. Wow, that is a huge gap, isn't it? 14.73 seconds from Mantle back to Sydney. Brisbane and GPS in 3rd, Manning River Newcastle Uni 4th place, Gippsland Grammar in 5th. And then in 6th place, it looks as though it's Rockhampton Grammar. So this is a field which is very, very spread out.
So Coming up to the red buoy, signifying 250 metres to go for the bow of the yellow boat of the Fremantle crew. Juliet Kelly, Sina Metzger, coached by Alex Thompson. And this is a fine performance, a relentless performance, 32 strokes a minute as they continue to push on towards the finish line, extending their advantage over Sydney Rowing Club in the sky blue in lane number 4, Stevenson and De Villiers. And then it's a good race going on for third spot. We've got Gippsland Grammar. Look like they've dropped the rating right down and then allowing Brisbane and GPS. Looks like the Gippsland Grammar crew aren't too fussed. They realise they're going through to the repechage, so why waste too much more energy? If the result remains the same, and the result at the finish line is going to remain the same as it has all the way down the course. Fremantle dominant.
That's a massive win, isn't it? Kelly and Metzger, 7:45.55 unofficially. And you sense the gap is somewhat larger than what it usually would be because this Sydney crew, Stevenson and De Villiers, have decided that it's probably best to save themselves for the repechage. It's almost 23 seconds in the end. Brisbane and GPS will cross in third. The Manning Newcastle Uni Composite in fourth place. Fifth, Gippsland Grammar. Rockhampton Grammar will cross in sixth, but it's Fremantle's Kelly and Metzger, coached by Alex Thompson, through to the semi-final in 7:45.55.
Race 77 is heat number 2 of the under-19 women's double scull, and the field we have in lane number 2, Adelaide University Nepean, Olivia Harris Nepean and Victoria Binns, Adelaide University Boat Club. In lane 3, Fremantle, Lara Connolly and Madison Naylor. Lane 4, Trinity Lutheran College, Scarlett Wood and Isabel Clifford. In lane 5, PLC Perth, Talia Wells and Stella Wandel. In lane 6, Pembroke School, Lara Kidman and Evelyn King. And in lane 7, University of Queensland, Tiara Rayner and Charlotte Zentveld. So that's the University of Queensland crew in lane 7 there, right in the centre of screen. And you can see the leading boat is the Trinity Lutheran crew, Scarlett Wood and Isabel Clifford. And you expect a good challenge coming from Harris and Binns over on the far side of the course in lane number 2.
Well, so many distinctive Zoodies in this race, which makes it a lot easier for us. Trinity Lutheran with that bright green there in front. And you can see the other bright Zoodies. You've got PLC Perth in sort of that darkish green colour. Pembroke School in the bright yellow. They're in lane 6 as well. And then you can see that Adelaide University, the white. With the V makes it very distinctive, coming down the course with about 1,500 metres almost to travel. We'll just have a look here at what the splits are going to come up with. Oh, here we go. Looks as though we have got a race on our hands here for first place. It was 23 seconds in the last race between first and second. It could be about 2.3 seconds here. What's it going to be? Trinity Lutheran through in well, first and second further because they're all thinking, have a little glance around and go, yep, let's just give ourselves a nice row through to the finish line and get ourselves ready for the repechage. But out in front, it is a head-to-head battle here between Trinity Lutheran and Adelaide Uni Nepean Composite. Still from the naked eye, Trinity Lutheran out of Queensland leading the way. Rating 34 for them. Looks to be fairly similar on the far side. We'll get, yeah, it is 34 each, the rating here. So they're going to have to be better with their stroke efficiency, Harris and Binns, if they want to close it down, if they're both rating at 34. Otherwise, they're going to have to really lift it if they want to be the second cruise straight through to the semi-finals in the under-19 women's double scull. It's the same stories we've seen in the under-17s events. We have got 6 heats. It's the first through to the semi-finals. So it's Scarlett Wood, Isabel Clifford, coached by Eric Rowan. They are leading the way. Olivia Harris from Nepean, Victoria Binns from Adelaide Uni, coached by Tom Tolinar and Daniel Waddell. But the gap has been there throughout the back end of this race. In the last 500 or so, they've opened it up. Trinity Lutheran, Scarlett Wood and Isabel Clifford, coached by Eric Rowan. And they will be the second crew through to the semi-finals in the under-19 women's double scull. The Adelaide Uni composite with Nepean. They're going to finish in second place, so they will go to the repechage. PLC Perth, they look to be getting a little close to those boys. They're going off course here, and they might be going back into their lane maybe. Well, no, it's a little all over the place because lane 6 has got out of their lane. Lane 7, I don't know. It's hard to work it all out, but PLC Perth are third. That's what we do know. Fremantle are fourth. Lane 6, Pembroke School. They're going to cross in 5th. Uni of Queensland in 6th. And they have finished in the right lane in the end. So that's brilliant at the end of that under-19 women's double. 7:53.15. Owen and I, well, that race has blown our minds, so we're going to head out. we're going to take a break, and we'll be back. And we are going to bring in, who is coming in? Stuart John and Chris McCarthy.
And our thanks there to Ben Homer and also to Owen Nix for their commentary there. We're now on to race number 78. It's the third heat of the women's under-19 double scull. Lane 2 from Griffith University Surfers Paradise. We have Ruby Hodges and Courtney Davis. They're coached by Anthony Cook and Christopher Holliday. Lane 3 from UTS Haberfield. We have Freya Bateman and Jade Bliss, coached by Jared Watson and Katie Healy. Lane 4 from Trinity Lutheran College, Alina Doherty and Lily Fruin, coached by Eric Rowan. Lane 5 from Tasmania University in Newcastle Grammar, Alice McReady from Newcastle Grammar and Matilda Cocker from Tasmania University, coached by Peter Volker and Brad Smith. Lane 6 from Commercial Rowing Club in Brisbane, Bethany Harvest and Milena Wilcox, coached by David Vanders. And in Lane 7 from Radford College in Canberra, Coco Gunther and Emily Brennan, and they're coached by Max Meyer and Megan Fritsch, as we welcome Chris McCarthy back to the commentary. Heat number 3 of the women's under-19 double sculls, and it is that composite in lane number 5 looking good out in front at the moment.
Thanks, Stuart. So just one crew through to the semi-final. The remainder will have to contest the repechage tomorrow afternoon. But looking like the UTS Haberfield crew over in lane 3 with a 10-second ascendancy at the 1,000-metre mark over the Tasmania Uni and Newcastle Grammar crew in lane 5, who are then in turn trailed by just half a second back to Commercial and 0.03 of a second back to Griffith University Surfers Paradise in 4th, Radford in 5th, and the combination for Trinity Lutheran back in 6th. So Freya Bateman and Jade Bliss from UTS Haberfield extending that lead at the 1,500 metre mark. Somewhat unsurprising, these two took the silver medal at the New South Wales State Championships a couple of weeks ago and definitely looked one of the form crews in the category at that point. 14.5 seconds now the lead over Ruby Hodges and Courtney Davis from Griffith University. We're still locked in a pretty tight battle with Alice McCready from Newcastle Grammar and Matilda Cocker from Tasmanian University Boat Club. Less than half a second behind them in 3rd place. Radford in 4th, Commercial 5th, Trinity Lutheran in 6th place of this 3rd of 6 heats in the under-19 women's double scull. See that UTS Haberfield crew there just really bringing the rate down and controlling things. We've seen them both racing in the single sculls earlier this morning and racing in the double, so be very happy not to be contesting any repêchages tomorrow.
So into the final stages now of our third heat for the women's under-19 double sculls. As mentioned, UTS commanding lead at the moment. A lot of clear water, just lowering that rate of striking, making sure that they're getting through and getting through quite nicely. Next to them, we have the Griffith University Surfers Paradise crew of Hodges and Davis sitting in second place and battling it out with the crew a couple across from them, Alice McReady from Newcastle Grammar and Matilda Cocker from Tasmania University. But out in front though, it's going to be a very comfortable win there for the UTS crew. Freya Bateman and Jade Bliss going through in first place. They'll go through to the semi-final in a couple of days' time. In the repechage, it will be, first of all, the Griffith University Surfers Paradise crew of Hodges and Davis, the Tasmania University Newcastle Grammar crew of McReady and Cocker in third place, ahead of Harvest and Wilcox from Commercial in fourth, Radford College's Gunther and Brennan in fifth place, and then back a little bit further to Doherty and Fruin from Trinity Lutheran College. Winning time there of 7:46.55. They're underway in heat number 4 of the women's under-19 doubles. Again, first through to the semi-final with the rest to the repechage. In lane 3 from Friends School down in Tasmania, we have Jemima Lennon and Ursula Nation, coached by Anthony Edwards and Nicola Anderson. In lane 4 from Corio Bay and Rutherglen Lake, we have Lily Rose Hall-Kraus representing Rutherglen Lake and Beatrix Hearn from Corio Bay, and they're coached by Jeff Watt. In lane 5, we have a West Australian Fremantle composite of Alessia Sirocco and Emma O'Neill, and they're coached by Alex Thompson and Stefano Beloso. In lane 6 from Brisbane and GPS, Danielle Watt and Gabrielle Ryan, coached by Maddie Pacalia and Nigel Stubbs. And lane 7 from Townsville and James JCU, we have Lily Bragg and Sarah Burke, and they're coached by Harrison Parks.
As those crews approach the 1,000-metre mark, as you can see on the screen there, at the 500 it was Lily Bragg and Sarah Burke from Townsville JCU there in lane 7. You can see in the centre of your picture who had almost 6 seconds at the first 500 metres. So that's a commanding lead in any class of boat, let alone the double scull. And they'll be looking to extend that lead. They look to almost be relaxing and bringing the rate down already, and not even at the halfway point of the race. So Lily Bragg and Sarah Burke, certainly the ones to watch going through to the finals, and not a bad time, 3:46 to the 1,000-metre mark. And for reference, last heat was 7:46 in total, 7:45 before that, and 7:53. So that's a pretty handy first 1,000 metres for that Townsville JCU crew. Brisbane and GPS, that's Danielle Watt and Gabrielle Ryan sitting back in second place, 7. From Fremantle and West Australian Rowing Club in third. The Corio Bay Rutherglen Lake composite, Beatrix Hearn and Lily Rose Hall-Kraus in fourth. And the crew from Tasmania from Friends, Jemima Lennon, Ursula Nation in fifth place in lane 3. So our winners with a terrific margin there. Terrific for them, not so terrific for the commentators looking for some action to call. But
well, it's a commentator's dream, this race, because we have first place is closest to us, then second place is lane 6, third place is lane 5, fourth in lane 4, and fifth in lane 3.
Yeah,
it's just straight across the course.
It almost feels like the Gambie, but the other way around. But dead flat conditions here, and just by chance, we've got crews in reverse lane order, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. As it stands, and I would say probably pretty small chance of that those placings changing.
So we have just seen the, you're speaking about the weather there, Chris, we have just seen the weather, the temperature's shot up, it's about 27 degrees at the moment, but the humidity is down to 56% as opposed to 100% at the start of play this morning. There's still very, very little wind, so a little bit of a tailwind, but 1.8 kilometres per hour, so you'd probably get more breath out of a 2-year-old blowing out a birthday candle.
Yeah, it's absolutely dead flat conditions in reality for us out here at the Sydney International Regatta Centre. But as you said, it is hot.
left the commentary tower for the first time since about 9 a.m. just before, and I think I'm sunburnt already, which is a great indicator for how the rest of the week is going to travel as our crews come through the 1,500 metre mark, and it's still Lily Bragg and Sarah Burke, Townsville and JCU. That lead just dropping down to 6 seconds as they've really brought the rate down. An attempt to conserve some energy, so they may need to bring it back up towards the end, but I would say there wouldn't be too much doubt in their mind that they could fend off any late challenge, which will most likely would come in the form of Brisbane and GPS's Danielle Watt and Gabrielle Ryan, if any.
Yeah, and Lily Bragg and Sarah Burke, they're actually 6th at the New South Wales Championships in the under-19 double scull. So they do have a bit of good results so far this season, and certainly the hot weather coming from Townsville isn't going to bother them.
No, exactly.
It's still very warm up there at the moment.
Yep, and so it's going to stay relatively humid all week. There's a little bit of rain forecast here and there, so they certainly will not be suffering as a result of that.
So it's still Townsville, JCU, Lily Bragg, Sarah Burke out in the lead, Brisbane and GPS in second place. So the two Queensland crews are 1 and 2, but it's only the first crew to go straight through to the semi-final. Third place, the West Australian Fremantle Composite of Sirocco and O'Neill, and then Lily Rose Hall-Kraus and Beatrix Hearn from Corio Bay and Rutherglen Lake. And then the Friends School from down in Tasmania, Jemima Lennon and Ursula Nation are in 5th place at the moment. So a pretty comfortable win. You can see on the screen at the moment that gap has closed a little bit between the Townsville and Brisbane crews, but we saw through the first 1,000 metres that the Townsville and JCU crew really put the foot down early, were able to get a good, strong lead early on, and it's meant that they've been able to conserve energy. The rate of striking hasn't got much, about 24 or so. As we see them now coming up towards the finish line, it's still over a boat length, and a good win for Lily Bragg and Sarah Burke. They'll go through to the semi-finals. Second place and through to the repechage are Danielle Watt and Gabrielle Ryan from Brisbane and GPS. Alessia Sirocco and Emma O'Neill from West Australian and Fremantle Rowing Clubs finish in third. Lily Rose Hall-Kraus from Rutherglen Lake and Beatrix Hearn from Corio Bay in 4th place, with the Friends School, Jemima Lennon and Ursula Nation finishing in 5th. The winning time for the Townsville JCU crew, 7 minutes 51.66. So only about 5 seconds slower than the previous heat, but certainly taking a lot easier over the second 1,000 metres.
Yeah, absolutely. So race 80 well underway now and approaching the 1,500 metre mark now. So the 5th out of 6 heats here in the under-19 women's double scull. Lane 3, Evie Salt and Isabella Malazewski from PLC Perth. Lane 4, we have Claire Showman and Tanya Hornby from Mossman Rowing Club. In lane 5, a composite between Loretto Col Emily Lang and Alex Perry Dalton representing that. O'Kane and Amelia Dennis, and in lane 7 a composite of Buckingham and Mersey rowing clubs. Poppy Kennett from Buckingham and Lily Barker from Mersey. I would say this would be Emily Lang's 4th or 5th run down the course just today.
And we saw her at New South Wales Championships with a lot of runs down the course as well, and she's a very talented sculler. That crew of Alex Perry Dalton and Emily Lang out in front by just under 2 seconds, ahead of the Buckingham Mersey crew of Barker and Kennett, and then Mossman crew in 3rd, PLC Perth in 4th, and Hunter Valley Grammar in 5th. So that was through the first 1,000 metres. They're coming up now towards the 1,500, and it's still a nice little battle going on here between the two composite crews. We've got the Loretto Marriotteville ANU composite, Alex Perry Dalton, Emily Lang in lane 5, and then the Buckingham Mersey composite in lane 7, keeping it interesting. 3 seconds between our two leading crews, but only one of them to go directly through to the semi-final. We saw Alex Perry Dalton earlier on today. She was in the women's lightweight under 21 single sculls. She's only just turned 18, so still a little bit younger than the other competitors in the under 21 event. She is in, I guess, the correct age bracket for this one, but out of Canberra Girls Grammar School under Kaz Pipers last year. And the Pocket Rocket, they call her down at ANU, because she's one of the few people in the boat club that's shorter than I am.
And that, we can't quite see it. We'll see it on the camera maybe later. It's no mean feat.
I'm 5'7", so.
And Emily Lang, who she's pairing up with, also a lightweight, won her heat in the under-19 single and the under-21 lightweight single earlier this morning. So this is her third run down the course, and we're looking to go 3 from 3. She's best placed to do that at this stage, but the crew from Buckingham and Mersley, the Tasmanian crew of Poppy Kennett, Lily Barker, just looking to upset that result possibly. We saw a good sprint finish from Emily Lang, the Loreto Marriotteville sculler, in the under-21 lightweight single just a couple of hours ago, and looks like we're going to replicate that here as they cross into the red boys. They've got about half a length on the Tasmanian composite, the South Australian and Canberran composite crew, ANU and Loreto Marriotteville just keeping their boat in front. They've got about half a boat length here. The Tasmanians do appear to have a little bit more momentum, and they are moving on them, but I think they're just going to run out of water here on the line. It'll be the ANU Loreto Marriotteville composite, Alex Perry-Dalton and Emily Lang, who just secure that next semi-final qualifying spot from the Buckingham Mersey composite, 0.65 of a second separating those two crews, and a good margin then back to the rest of the field, who have decided that they'll have to focus their efforts on the repechage tomorrow rather than expend energy on making up an insurmountable gap here in the under-19 single. But the next cross line will be Mossman Rowing Club, and that's Claire Showman and Tanya Hornby, coached by Ben Whitewolf, Tom Schramko and Kieran Kabelke. Coaching team that's had so many fantastic results already this season, and already a couple of good ones this regatta. So a program to watch as they cross the line about 2 lengths clear of PLC Perth, Evie Salt, Isabella Malizewski, and Hunter Valley Grammar, Erin O'Kane and Amelia Dennis to round out this 5th heat of the under-19 women's double scull. 7:35 the winning time there, so a good bit faster than the rest of our heats, but also the only one where we've had a real race to the finish, so not too much to read into that time.
And we're underway in heat number 6 of the women's under-19 double scull. You can see up on your screen at the moment the crew from Sydney Rowing Club. That's Neve Tierney and Gabby Cypher. They're coached by Charlie Patterson. In lane 4 from Toowong and Brisbane and GPS, we have Elodie Lee and Robin Matthews, coached by Claire Raven, Maddie Pekelia and Nigel Stubbs. In lane 5, it's another Queensland composite, Georgia Mortimer from Bundaberg Rowing Club and Eva Hosking from Brisbane and GPS, coached by Maddie Pekelia, Nigel Stubbs and Russell Mortimer. In lane 6 from Fremantle Rowing Club, Ella Riches and Bridget Grolton, coached by Keely Atchinson. And then lane 7 from Mercantile and Nagambie, Clodagh McCarthy from Nagambie and Kate McNeil from Mercantile. They're coached by Susan Andrews and Andrew McNeil. And so through the first 1,000 metres, it was the Sydney crew leading quite comfortably. It was about 8 seconds between first and second, then another 6 seconds back to the Fremantle crew in third. So I'd expect to see a little bit of a slower time. We're certainly seeing it's the first day of a big 7-day regatta, and any opportunity you've got to be able to try and cut that down, then you certainly go through and take that. But you can see the footage now from a camera on our BRO boat, and the sun now has broken through the clouds and it is absolutely glistening here at the Sydney International Regatta Centre as we see them looking across the Sydney Rowing Club crew of Tierney and Cypher over on the left-hand side of the screen, well ahead coming up towards the 1,500 metre mark. We've got the Brisbane and GPS composite on the near left-hand side, and then looking out to the right underneath the sunlight. Fantastic footage there over towards the Fremantle crew, I think that was. But there's no doubt who our leaders are. Sydney Rowing Club, Neve Tierney and Gabby Cypher. We'll be saying that surname quite a few times over the course of the...
Quite a few times, exactly. It is it's quite difficult on the results to see who's who because there's 2 G Cyphers. But Gabby, the youngest of the Cyphers, moving down here after finishing up at St Margaret's College and really going from strength to strength. Hadn't done a lot of sculling, I understand, before this row, mostly sweep at school, but... doing quite well, partnered up with Neve Tierney, the Loreto Normanhurst sculler, who took a silver medal at the Schoolgirl Head of the River and won her heat in the under-19 women's single earlier this morning.
So it's Sydney Rowing Club out in front. They're going to qualify, barring catastrophe, for the semi-final of the women's under-19 double scull. A couple across from them, we've got Brisbane and GPS Bundaberg Composite, and then we're seeing again the footage here from the BR rowboat as they're coming up towards the final timing, or not the final timing point, but certainly the final hut. When you see that one and the green grass of the hill out near the grandstand, you know that the finish line is close, very, very close. But the Sydney Rowing Club crew of Tierney and Cypher just lowering that rate now, conserving the energy. It's already a fantastic lead over the Brisbane and GPS and Bundaberg Composite of Mortimer and Hosking sitting in second place. The Toowong, Brisbane and GPS Composite in lane 4, battling it out with the Fremantle crew in lane 6 and the Mercantile and the Gambie crew in lane number 7. So a nice even battle there for 3rd, 4th and 5th. Fremantle just dropping off a little bit. We've got Mercantile and the Gambie and Brisbane and GPS and Toowong battling it out for 3rd place at the moment, about a boat length back to the Fremantle crew. But it's going to be a win out in front for Neve Tierney and Gabby Cypher from Sydney Rowing Club. They'll go through to the semi-final of the women's under-19 double scull. Second place will go to the Brisbane and GPS Bundaberg Composite of Georgia Mortimer and Eva Hosking. They go through to the repechage, as does Clodagh McCarthy and Kate McNeil from Mercantile and Nagambie. 4th place will be the Toowong, Brisbane and GPS Composite of Elodie Lee and Robin Matthews, with Fremantle's Ella Richards and Bridget Grolton in 5th. Winning time in that heat, 7 minutes 52.23. So again, the leading crew, not under pressure, able to just slow down the speed, and we'll see in the semi-finals really how quick these crews can go. Move on to heat number 1 of the men's double scull. Again, first through to the semi-final, the rest through to the repechage. Lane 2 from Nudgee College, we have George Curry and Will Enders. In lane 3 from Radford College, Ewan Gregg and Hamish Whittier, coached by Will Hatcher, Mackenzie Moore and Gordon Marks. Lane 4 from Bundaberg and Ignatius Park College, we have Thomas Bartels and Logan Cavill. They're coached by Harrison Parks and Rodney Dick. In lane 5 from Sydney Rowing Club, Xavier Gersoy and Tom Chantner, coached by Donovan Seck, Shane Mulvaney and Felix Dew. In lane 6 from Fremantle and Canberra Rowing Clubs, we have Ben Hayward from Canberra and Kip Mueller from Fremantle, coached by Kevin Neville and David Bagnall. Lane 5 from Adelaide High and Unley High School, Thomas Osborne and Finn Redburn. They're coached by Joanne Malcolm and Daniel Ralph. And lane 8 from Wendouree Ballarat, we have Joachim Henderson and James Clark, and they're coached by Jamie McDonald and Paul Blanchfield.
And I'll say something that'll make Stuart very happy. It looks like Radford College out in the lead. The crew from the ACT, Ewan Grigg and Hamish Whittier, but just by 0.02 of a second over Xavier Gersoy, Tom Chanter from Sydney Rowing Club and St Joseph's College. The Adelaide and Unley High, the South Australian composite crew there of Tom Osborne, Finn Redman, about 2 seconds back, and only 2.5 seconds back to the Fremantle Canberra composite in 4th. So things looking definitely not undecided, but we definitely will see some tighter margins. We've just seen the wind pick up a little bit of a tailwind, maybe trending slightly from the south, if anything, but fairly straight tailwind, nice and gentle, but just enough to give those crews a little bit of an urge on through the 1500 metres. It still was Adelaide High and Unley High, or moving up into the lead, was Adelaide High and Unley High, who have moved from 3rd, jumped up into 1st, but only just leading the Sydney St Joseph's composite in 2nd place, 0.16 the margin there. It was about a canvas at the 1500 metre mark in that Radford crew from the ACT, just dropping back into 3rd place. Of course, only one of these crews will progress through to the semi-final. The remainder will have to contest the repechage tomorrow and fish again for a place in the semi-finals. Definitely see that combination from South Australia, the Adelaide and Unley High composite. Thomas Osborne from Unley High, Finn Redman from Adelaide, coached by Joe Malcolm and Daniel Ralph, who have managed to definitely had the momentum at that 1500 metre mark and have really built on that and extended out to almost a boat length's lead over the remainder of the field, who just appear to have brought the rate of striking down slightly, conserve a little bit of energy going into their repechages tomorrow.
Yeah, they've done that quite well, haven't they? The South Australian crew of Osborne and Redmond, not sitting about third place through the 1,000, up into first at the 1,500, and they've absolutely timed this to perfection. Their coaches, knowing Jo Malcolm, she'll be absolutely stoked for the crew.
Absolutely.
Very enthusiastic coach. And they've had a fantastic race here. They've timed it to absolute perfection, looking comfortable towards the end. So Thomas Osborne from Unley High and Finn Redmond from Adelaide High with the win in heat number 1 of the
It's going to be
men's.
really tight across the line, though. We've got 4 crews going for that second place. It's largely academic, but it'll be the crew that will come across almost in lane order. So Radford College from Sydney St Joseph's, the Fremantle and Canberra composite, and then Wendouree, Ballarat. All those crews within about 2 seconds of each other at the finish of that race. So a great finish, but unfortunately all those crews through to the repechage in the semi-final positions for any of those, and a winning time of 7 minutes 4 seconds .57 for our South Australian composite crew.
83. So lane 2 from Trinity Grammar in Victoria, we have William Ball and Charlie White, and they're coached by Jackson Harrison and Lachlan Goller. In lane number 3 from the West Australian Rowing Club, we have Sam Clode and Kieran Redding, and they're coached by Stefano Belosso. In lane 4 from Barwon Rowing Club in Victoria, Luca McCurry and Elliot Renson Gibb, coached by Michael Cushion. In lane 5 from Unley High and Pembroke School, we have Alex Lee and Nate Lesu, coached by Simon Lane and Tim Whitburn. Lane 6 is a scratching from St Joseph's. Lane 7 from Fremantle Rowing Club, Remy Payne and Liam Davis, coached by Kevin Neville. And in lane 8 from Gregory Terrace and Griffith University Surfers Paradise, we have Matthew Leskew and John Nolan, and they're coached by Duncan Free and Christopher Holiday.
And a little bit tighter in this race than what we saw in the previous race. However, the previous race was about this tight at the 1,000 metre mark, so anything can happen.
It's still the South Australians out in the lead though, so that's the key thing to take forward. We've got Unley High and Pembroke School composite of Lee and Lesu out in front, just under 3 seconds ahead of the West Australian crew of Clode and Redding. Fremantle sitting in 3rd place, Trinity Grammar in 4th, and then the Gregory Terrace Griffith University crew in 5th, and then back a little bit further to the Barwon crew towards the back of the field. So the South Australians out in front. This is the men's under-19 double scull event. We've got a few heats in this one. The rest going through to the repechages tomorrow. So again, that opportunity to try and save the legs a little bit and not have to come out and row tomorrow. As we see again the view from the BR rowboats, we can see there lane number 4, that's the Barwon crew of Luca McCurry and Elliot Renton Gibb, sitting quite nicely there on the screen at the moment as they're coming up now towards the 1,500 metre timing point.
Race in lane 6, I'd say. On Saturday, that was to be the crew of Samuel Basher and Finlay Mitchell, who took out the first 8 on Saturday here at the International Regatta Centre. First time since 2015 for St Joseph's College, and a couple of very happy coaches, I understand. But the South Australian crew, again, after seeing the South Australian composite crew in the first heat take out the win, it is the Unley High and Pembroke composite in this second heat who are looking to form crew. Alex Lee from Pembroke High and Nate Lesu from Unley High, coached by Simon Lane and Tim Whitburn, who are leading this second heat of the under-19 double scull by about 3.5 seconds, so a bit under, about a boat length at this stage, and their nearest competitors will be either side of them there from West Australian Rowing Club in lane 3 to their right-hand side, and the Fremantle Rowing Club. So the 2 West Australian crews in this race, the nearest threat for overtaking that semi-final position. I'd say the Fremantle crew on this side of the course in lane 7 will be the only ones who are well positioned enough to do that.
I think we're in for an exciting finish here, Chris. We've got that South Australian composite crew in lane number 5 who are sitting quite nicely, but Fremantle have started to make their move now. Remy Payne and Liam Davis, they were 3rd at New South Wales Championships in the under-19 double scull. So they do, again, have those results in the recent past. They managed to get the bronze by less than a second over Trinity crew of William Ball and Charlie White. So, but the South Australians have now seen the danger coming through. So they've started to pick up their rate of striking. It's about a boat length between first and second. Another boat length back to third place. That's the West Australian crew who are battling it out with Trinity Grammar Q in lane number 2. Out in front, it's going to be lane number 5. So Unley High are going to take a win in the last couple of heats. Half a boat length. Lee and Lesu from Unley and Pembroke schools going through to take the win. Second place going to the Fremantle crew of Remy Payne and Liam Davis. Third will go to, it looks to be Trinity Grammar, just taking the third place ahead of, so that's Ball and White ahead of Clode and Redding from West Australian Rowing Club. Going through in fifth will be Mercury and Renton Gibb from Barwon Rowing Club, with the Gregory Terrace Griffith University composite of Lescue and Nolan finishing in sixth place. The winning time there, almost a 7 flat. It's a 7 minutes, 0.70 seconds and less than a second between first and second.
And Trinity Grammar almost missed out on that third place there. I think they might have got confused on which buzzer was which. They almost stopped a couple metres before the line, but saw the danger and managed to get their bow balls across. So race 84 on the program, coming at us now, the third of our 6 heats of the under-19 men's double scull. In lane 3, a composite of UTS Haberfield and Hunter Valley Grammar, Kaylin Routley from UTS, Luke Purdy from Hunter Valley Grammar School. Lane 4 from Brisbane State High, Ewan Johnson and Ruben Brosnan. In lane 5 from Trinity Lutheran College, Jed Rice and Christian Rasher. Lane 6 from Norwood International High School from South Australia, Nicholas Hallalus and Oliver Evans Wood. In lane 7 from Melbourne High, Oscar Eberbach and Joshua Kang. And in lane 8, a composite of North Esk and Tamar Rowing Clubs. We have Jack Clark from North Esk and Ned Neville Clark from Tamar Rowing Club.
And we're just seeing now our crews go up to the 1,000 metre mark. So lane 6 and 7. So that's Norwood International High and Melbourne High, our 2 leading crews there. There's less than a second between the 2. UTS and Hunter Valley Grammar in third place ahead of lane number 8. That's North Esk and Tamar composite. Lane 4 sitting in 5th place, Brisbane State High. And then back a little bit further then to lane number 5, Trinity Lutheran College in 6th place. So Brisbane State High coming off some strong results of the recent Brisbane GPS competition. I think they finished 4th in the first state, so a strong result for one of the GPS. It's the only public GPS school up in Brisbane, and my understanding is that it's the teachers that do. There's not specific rowing coaches. It's the teachers who are rowing coaches out there. So not a fee-paying school.
Yep. So a fairly similar situation to Sydney Boys High in Sydney, who have the same sort of thing with volunteer sort of coaches, or coaches doing it as a part of their teaching duties. So it's a fantastic result to be up there with the big boys in 4th and up there in this double sculls race.
We're just seeing now the UTS Hunter Valley Grammar crew out there in lane number 3. So that's on the far side from the grandstand, or the far side from the cameras who are looking across there. And you can see them rowing quite nicely. Luke Purdy from Hunter Valley Grammar, Kaylin Routley from UTS Haberfield. UTS in that very distinctive black, white and teal zooty. Can't forget the teal on there.
Can't forget the teal, we bleed teal.
I'll have James Waldersea messaging me in no time at all. And then Hunter Valley Grammar, again with the distinctive zooty with the rainbow colours around the middle. But they are being put under a bit of pressure there. We've got lane number 6, Norwood International High. So UTS have moved up into the lead, that composite. Norwood International High, can they make it 3 from 3 for the South Australians in the men's under-19 double sculls? Nicholas Hallulis and Oliver Evans Wood from Norwood International High. So what's on the screen at the moment isn't quite correct. UTS and Hunter Valley Grammar sitting up in first place. But then we go back again, back a little bit further to our other crews. Now we are seeing there is on the screen a Nudgy crew in lane number 9. So I believe that they were in race number 82. Yep. So we'll wait for confirmation on what's happening with the Nudgy crew. So there have been a couple of races that have gone on since then. They may have been late down to the start, but
like
just
equipment failure going on in there.
Yeah, it might be an equipment failure. So if they go through to the finish, then they should still be able to race in the repechage. But if you don't finish, you don't get to go through.
That is correct.
To the reps. So
UTS and Hunter Valley Grammar Composite on the far side of the course, maybe just coming under a little bit of threat from the crew in the centre of the course.
Norwood
International High from South Australia. We've seen 2 South Australian crews take out the first 2 heats, and Norwood International High trying to get in the mix for a third one, but I think Kaylin Routley of UTS, Luke Purdy of Hunter Valley Grammar School, that crew coached by Odin McIntosh and Judith Ungamak, those two, that combination done enough early on and seen a little bit of a challenge, just lifted their rate of striking at the end of the race, and they'll come across and win this third heat of the under-19 men's double scull. They'll take it from the Norwood International High crew in lane 6 in second place. Crew in lane 7 from Melbourne High, and we'll cross the line in third. And the Tasmanians, the North Esk and Tamar Composite there in lane 8 in fourth place. See 2 very brightly coloured crews, the Brisbane State High crew in lane 4, who will come across in 5th place, ahead of Trinity Lutheran in the bright green in lane 5.
So a winning time there for our UTS and Hunter Valley Grammar crew of 6 minutes 55.41. And a winning margin of just over 4 seconds ahead of the Norwood International High crew. Brisbane State High finishing in 5th and Trinity Lutheran College in 6th place. As we move on now to heat number 4 of the men's under-19 double sculls, up on your screen at the moment. In lane 2 from Adelaide and Buckingham Rowing Clubs, we have Ben Furlong and Igor Zarubin. In lane 3 from Gippsland Grammar, Lagan Joshi and Samuel Reynolds, coached by Henry McLeod and Helena Singleton. Lane 4 from Radford College, it is Hamish Gaydon and Hamish McKee, coached by Mackenzie Moore, Will Hatcher and Gordon Marks. Lane 5 from Adelaide University and Adelaide Rowing Clubs, we have Cooper Hoskin and Alexander Williams, coached by Sam Morton and Christine McLaren. Lane 6 from Griffith University Surfers Paradise, Luca Free and Jason McKenzie, coached by Duncan Free, Tom Riles and Christopher Holliday. Lane 7, the local rivals, the Southport School, Hunter Douglas and John Oneto. And lane 8 from Melbourne High, we have Sam Emberback and James Lau.
Those crews just coming up to the 1,000-metre timing point on your screen. You can see that combination in lane 6 from the Griffith University Surfers Paradise doing battle with the Adelaide and Adelaide University composite crew to their right-hand side, about pretty much half a boat length separating those two from, and then Radford College about a length back in third, Adelaide Buckingham 4th, Gippsland Grammar in 5th, Melbourne High sitting back in 6th, and the second of the Southport School, the Southport School crew there rounding out the field at the halfway point in 7th.
So our leading crews now coming up towards our final timing point. So through the 1,000, it was the Queenslanders out in front ahead of South Australia, the ACT. Then we've got the Adelaide Buckingham crew in 4th place, Gippsland Grammar in 5th, Melbourne High in 6th, and the Southport School in 7th place. So the 2 Gold Coast crews at either end of the field, and then a mixture from just about every other state going on in between in the middle there. So
it's just no locals, no New South Welshmen, no Tasmanians, so it's everyone but New South Wales in this one.
It's the Australian Rowing Championships. We're all locals. Everyone's a local here, Chris.
It is really tight at the 1,500 metre mark. Both crews just the lead changing hands every single stroke between the Adelaide Uni and Adelaide Composite. So Cooper Hoskin from Adelaide, Alexander Williams from Adelaide Uni,
and the Griffith University Surfers Paradise crew of Luca Free, Jason McKenzie, crew coached by Duncan Free, Tom Riles, Christopher Holiday. Those two combinations absolutely going stroke for stroke for the entirety of that third 500 metres, and neither crew appeared to be the faster moving boat on the course as they crossed through the 1500 metre timing point. And our screen there, just really the definition of trading blows, and they'll both just be searching for another gear now as they approach 1750 metres road. Just about 35 strokes left in the race.
Now, the crew that was leading at the 500 metres was the Radford College crew, and we've just had word that it is Gordon Marks' birthday today. So I was chatting to him earlier, and he didn't mention that, but happy birthday, Gordo. Would be well known, particularly around the para community, the former Rowing Australia para rowing coach, and now the head of rowing at Radford College. So happy birthday, Gordo, and I'm sure Will and Max will come up with something embarrassing for you a little bit later on.
But all eyes are going to be on this battle for the win. Only one through to the semi-final. It has been absolutely stroke for stroke for about the last 1,000 metres of this race. They're into the red, boys. I was going to say it was the South Australians who are ahead, but the Griffith University Surfers Paradise crew are just hanging on. They look to have maybe just run out of gas in the closing stages. The Adelaide crew have just got their bow balls in front. They've been inseparable most of the way down the course, and they've got half a boat length lead now. It'll be the Adelaide and Adelaide University crew who get through to the semi-final, a hard-fought race over the Griffith University Surfers Paradise combination in the under-19 double sculls. So Adelaide Uni and Adelaide through to the semi-final. Griffith University Surfers Paradise will have to row the repechage, unfortunately. The Adelaide Buckingham combination on the far side of the course in third, as we see the crew in lane 4 from Radford College in 4th place, ahead of the lane 3 combination there from Gippsland Grammar. Melbourne High crossing in 6th place, and the Southport School in lane 7 in 7th place. The winning time there, 6:49.48, so a fair bit quicker. The wind has just picked up, and they of course did race all the way to the line there, so not too much to be read into things, but certainly a pretty handy time for an under-19 double.
And if I'm the Griffith University crew, I'm not discouraged by that race. Race number 86 is underway. It's the heat number 5 of the under-19 men's double scull, first through to the semi-final. Lane 2 from Gippsland Grammar, Evan Lewis and Hagan Cook, coached by Henry McLeod and Helena Singleton. Lane 3 from Radford College, Connor Maloof and Angus Scott, coached by Will Hatcher, Mackenzie Moore and Gordon Marks. In lane 4 from Mossman Rowing Club, William Robertson and Tobias Elias, coached by Tom Schranko and Kieran Kabelke. Lane 5 from Launceston Grammar, Bailey Stewart and Hamish Cumming, coached by James Cumming and Jack Barrett. Lane 6 from Gippsland Grammar, Jack Courtney and Connor Howard, coached by Helena Singleton and Henry McLeod. And lane 7 from Launceston Grammar, Monty Brown and Archie Burke, coached by James Cumming and Jack Barrett. So wait for the timing to come up there, but it'll be an interesting race, this one. We've got Connor Maloof and Angus Scott, who were the New South Wales champions in this event earlier this year. And then, I don't think you can ever count out a Mossman crew, particularly the ones coached by Tom Schranko and Kieran Kabelke.
Yeah, it's certainly been a program on the rise over the last year or so, and it's certainly got strength in numbers, that is for sure. And they've taken a few good results, particularly in the girls' squad. But this combination, William Robinson, Tobias Elias. Tobias Elias is a name that I've called many a times over this season, and doing good battle with the crew from Radford of Connor Maloof and Angus Scott. They've got almost a boat length lead on them as we approach the 1500 metre timing point.
Yeah, they just moved through nicely through that third 500 metres. The Mossman crew that finished second at New South Wales Champs were Dion Hansen and Oscar Skeel-Gamborg. So they're doing quite well there. So it's Mossman leading Radford College, then back a little bit further, Launceston Grammar in lane number 7, Gippsland Grammar in lane number 2, and then Launceston Grammar in lane number 5. So we are having a little drama with the timing system at the moment, so no splits coming through on the screen, but certainly an interesting battle to come here between Mossman and Radford. We saw a couple of races ago, or the last race actually, where the two crews going stroke for stroke. Only a second between first and second in that one. I think, Chris, we're going to see something similar here. Mossman Radford leading at the 1,000. Mossman at the 1,500. Radford are trying to make that back up. If you win this, tomorrow is off for the double scull. And Mossman are now trying to hold on into the last 250 metres. It's still Mossman leading Radford College. 200 metres or so to go. Third place, we've got Launceston Grammar. That's Brown and Burke in lane number 7. And then back across to Lewis and Cook from Gippsland Grammar. And then we've got Stewart and Cumming from Launceston Grammar and Courtney and Howard from Gippsland Grammar.
This could be a fantastic finish here, Stuart. This Radford crew have really lifted their rating over the last 50 metres or so. And coming into the red boys, they're certainly the faster moving crew. It's between Radford and Mossman. Mossman have led the majority of the way down the course, but the boys from Canberra, they don't like that. They're going to be going absolutely hell for leather here. They've lifted the rate. They've got the momentum. Their Powerball's getting in front. It'll be Radford College from Mossman in a fantastic finish. I'd say that'd be the best finish of the day. Absolutely coming from nowhere, that Radford crew to just pip Mossman on the line. Almost caught them napping and to move through to that semi-final.
Half a second between first and second. It was basically about the width of the bow number.
Yep. Yeah, I'd say even less than half a second once we review the timings. But Launceston Grammar there in lane 7, crossing in 3rd place. See, the next two crews aren't going to be separated by very much either. Both crews are really cruising towards the line, but the combination in lane 5, also from Launceston Grammar, Bailey Stewart, Hamish Cumming, just in front of Gippsland Grammar, Evan Lewis and Hagan Cook. And the final Gippsland Grammar crew there, Jack Courtney and Connor Howard in lane 6 to round out this 5th heat of the under-19 men's double scull. Winning time there, 650.91, margin of 0.45 of a second. So things have sped up in terms of the wind, and that's led to a little bit closer racing, Stuart.
Absolutely. Moving on to heat number 6 of the men's under-19 double scull, our final heat. Lane 2 from West Australian Rowing Club and Leichhardt, we have Dylan Lee and Thomas Bias, coached by Isaac Shepherd and Stefano Belosso. Lane 3 from Mossman Rowing Club, Dion Hansen and Oscar Skeel-Gamborg, coached by Tom Schrenko and Kieran Kabelke. Lane 4 from Trinity Grammar Q, we have Patrick McKerney and Nicholas Whiteoak, coached by Jackson Harrison and Lachlan Goller. Lane 5 from the Southport School, Matthew Coleman and Samuel Butler. Lane 6 from Melbourne High, Yangxiang Huang and Tamiki Golek. And then in lane 7, also from Melbourne High, Mark Teal and Rahul Thomas. So through the 1,000 metre mark now, we can see that Mossman crew, Dion Hansen and Oscar Skeel-Gamborg, leading the Southport School in 2nd place. And then back a little bit further, Melbourne High in lane number 6 ahead of Trinity Grammar, West Australian Rowing Club, Leichhardt Composite in 5th, and then the 2nd Melbourne High crew there. So Dion Hansen and Oscar Skeel-Gamborg, as we mentioned before, they were 2nd at the New South Wales Championships, only a couple seconds behind the Radford College crew of Maloof and Scott that won the last heat in a very tight race. So I think we're going to see some very exciting racing through the semi-finals and through the final as well. And part of it does come down to when you don't have to do that extra race, you know, do you keep a little bit of that extra conditioning, or do you get to conserve that energy, and that will help you?
Yeah, and the other thing to consider too is not so much in this race, but quite a few races, we do have a lot of crews that haven't trained together a lot. Crews from other sides of the country, scratch combinations, who this may be their 2nd or 3rd outing out in the crew race in the heat, and if they were to just miss out on qualifying through to the semi-final, that repechage is probably going to unlock more speed than they would have lost by conserving the energy. So sometimes the repechage can be a bit of a blessing in disguise. I know my first nationals exactly that. I was new to the crew. We just missed out on making the final directly. We had to row the repechage, and we ended up with a medal. We benefited from it. So there's a lot of factors at play in that day off. That this Mossman crew, Oscar Skeel-Gamborg and Dion Hansen, we look very likely to earn that day off. Don't look to be under quite as much pressure as their clubmates in the previous race, who just pipped on the line. So they come through the 1,500 metre mark. Mossman followed by Southport School, just under 5 seconds the margin there. So fairly comfortable in what is ever-quickening conditions here this afternoon at the Sydney International Regatta Centre. Australian Rowing Club and Leichhardt combination there, crossing that 1500 in third place, but some way back. Melbourne High in fourth, and Trinity Grammar sitting in fifth place.
So Mossman still with that lead at the moment, ahead of the Southport School. And looking quite comfortable out there. Still having to make sure they can't quite ease off. Maybe perhaps it's what they would have liked to have. But certainly have a comfortable lead at the moment. Couple of lanes across for them. The Southport School, Matthew Coleman and Samuel Butler looking good in second place, just over a boat length between first and second, so maybe just a little bit far to go, but they're certainly not letting the Mossman crew have everything their own way. Back then, a couple of boat lengths across to the West Australian Leichhardt Composite. So again, where you're talking about, Chris, where we've got those crews from exactly opposite sides of the country, it is that opportunity to have that second race. They're sitting nicely in third place at the moment. We can just see the footage on the screen from one of the looks to be the Trinity Grammar crew of Patrick McKerney and Nicholas Whiteoak, as we see there over towards the tents set up all along the course. It's going to be fantastic once we've got all those tents set up. We've got the full crowd that'll come in later on during the A lot of things to look forward to. The Mossman crew of Oscar Skeel-Gamborg and Dion Hansen can look forward to the semi-final on Wednesday. A good win for them ahead of the Southport School's Matthew Coleman and Samuel Butler in second place. Never let up the pressure there, the Southport School crew. Third place will go to Dylan Lee and Thomas Bias from Leichhardt and West Australian rowing clubs, and they'll be happy with that row. Scratch crew, Yang Xiang Huang and Tomiki Golek in fourth place for Melbourne High, and they'll finish ahead of the Trinity Grammar Q crew of Patrick McKerney and Nicholas Whiteoak in fifth, and then the second Melbourne High crew of Mark Teal and Rahul Thomas in sixth place. The winning time for that race, 6 minutes 57.91 and a winning margin of 1.76 seconds.
So a little bit slower in this one than the last two heats, but definitely not quite as pushed as the previous two heats winners that came down to quite a close finish. But that concludes the under-19 men's double scull with 6 heats run, and move on to the under-21 men's double sculls. Our last event of the program for day one's racing, just 3 heats, and of those 3 heats, the top 4 will progress to the semi-finals, the remainder to the repechage. So race 88 underway now. Lane 2, Toowong, Joseph Petrie Reaper and Cooper O'Rourke. Lane 3, Adelaide University, Kyle Miller and Hugo Worm. Lane 4, Wender and Tasmanian University Boat Club, Oliver Shearing from Tasmanian University Boat Club and Cameron Parker from Scotch Oakburn. James Goldrick and Benjamin Vandenberg from Mercantile. Fremantle, represented by Liam Jaeger and Austin Vincent, and the Fremantle Composite West Australian Rowing Club. Jacob Casey from Fremantle and Charlie Thompson from the West Australian Rowing Club. I will say the best part of the commentary over the last couple of hours has been Ben Homer's commentary of the Pelican action, which we've just seen here, just enjoying himself in the middle of the course, and it appears to be a rowing race that's really upset his afternoon there, but that won't be of concern to our athletes rowing now, where the Fremantle WA crew and the All Fremantle crew both our top 2 runners, followed by the Tasmanian Composite, Scotch Oakburn and Tasmanian University, and Adelaide University sitting in 4th place.
Yeah, not a lot to pick between our leading few crews there. So through the 1,000 metres, it was 3 seconds between first and second, and then only a couple of seconds between second and fourth. Add another couple of seconds onto that, and you're down to 5th. So certainly with it all to play for. First, second, third and fourth going through to the semi-finals in the under-21 men's double sculls, with the rest going through to the repechage. Out in front, it is the Fremantle West Australian composite. They're 4 seconds ahead of Scotch Oakbourne and Tasmania University. Adelaide University in third, less than a second behind them. Fremantle, less than 2 seconds behind them. And then now, just that little bit of a gap opening up to the Wendouree Ballarat Mercantile composite, and then back again to Toowong Rowing Club and Mercantile in 6th and 7th respectively. So that was through our final timing point. But certainly the Fremantle West Australian Rowing Club in lane number 8 still with the lead. So first 4 to go directly through to the semi-finals. So that's Fremantle West Australian, Fremantle Rowing Club, and then looking across we've got the Adelaide University and the Scotch Oakbourne and Tasmania Composites crew there in lane number 5. So they're our 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then the question is, can the Wendouree Ballarat and Mercantile composite just make up a little bit of ground on that 4th place crew? In now to the last 250 metres. And I think, Chris, we've got 3, they'll all go through to the semi-final, but we've got 3 boats going for first place. It's going to be a tight finish.
Yeah, I don't know what order we're going to have. Our top 4 are pretty decided, but the lane that they'll be assigned in the semi-final is certainly not. It was the crew in the centre, in the near side of the course, the Fremantle West Australian Rowing Club crew, who have led pretty much for the last 1,000 metres or so, but they're under threat from the crew in the centre of the course from Scotch Oakbourne and Tasmanian University Boat Club. I think the West Australians have just done enough. They'll keep their bow balls in front and they'll take the win by half a boat length from the Tasmanians in the centre of the course. The crew over in lane 3 from Adelaide University across the line in 3rd, and the Fremantle combination in lane 4 in 4th, and that'll round out our semi-final qualifiers ahead of the Victorians. The Wendouree Ballarat Mercantile composite in the lane 4 will have to contest the repechage, as will the combination over in lane 2 from Toowong, and the all Mercantile crew there in lane 6, James Goldrick and Benjamin Vandenberg. The winning time for that one, 6:47.95.
Time for the penultimate race of the day. It's heat number 2 of the men's under-21 double sculls. Again, 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th through to the semis. Lane 2 from Griffith University Surfers Paradise and Toowong, we have Nicholas Barlow and Benjamin Shuttlewood, coached by Mark Game and Christopher Holliday. Lane 3 from University of Queensland and Griffith University Surfers Paradise, Charles Clark and Patrick Murphy, coached by Christopher Holliday, Randall Martin and Duncan Free. Lane 4 from Fremantle and Swan River Rowing Clubs, we have Harry Salfinger and Oscar Lowry, coached by Kevin Neville. Lane 5 from Sydney Rowing Club, Fletcher Smith and Maxim Maloney, coached by Donovan Seck and Shane Mulvaney. Lane 6 from Adelaide and Cand Rowing Clubs, we have Chad Willett from Cand and Adam Holland from Adelaide Rowing Club, coached by Nicholas Mitchell. And lane 7 from UTS Haberfield, Oscar Barigi and Jack Power, coached by Matthias and Judith Ungamak. And through that 1,000-metre timing point, it's going to be a fascinating battle here. We've got the Adelaide Cand crew leading through the 1,000 metres, 2 seconds ahead of the Griffith University Toowong composite. UTS sitting in 3rd place. They're only a couple of seconds behind first. A couple of seconds behind them, we have Fremantle Swan River in 4th, University of Queensland Griffith University in 5th, and Sydney Rowing Club sitting in 6th place. And the reason I say that this is quite interesting was because Oscar Barigi and Jack Power were the winners in this event at the New South Wales Championships back in February. They were 4th at the 500 metres, 2nd through the next 2 timing points, and then came through with the win. But Chad Willett, we saw him absolutely dominate last year in the schoolboy categories and the under-19 categories.
Yep.
And now looking very good rowing for Cand Rowing Club, partnering it up there with Adam Holland from Adelaide Rowing Club.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw Adam Holland with a really aggressive race in the single earlier on, and we also saw Oscar Barigi and Jack Power take 1-2 in the second heat of the under-21 men's single as well. So it's very well-credentialed athletes here in the double sculls, and as with the last race, I think our top 4 is relatively well decided. The Adelaide Cand crew, the Griffith University and Toowong crew, the all UTS crew, and the Fremantle Swan River composite. They're looking to be our qualifiers through to the semi-final, but the order in which they will qualify is still to be decided. So Chad Willett and Adam Holland, Cand and Adelaide Rowing Club currently last 500 metres. Griffith University Surfers Paradise Toowong crew. Nicholas Barlow, Benjamin Shuttlewood there in third. And Harry Salfinger, Oscar Laurie of Fremantle and Swan River rowing clubs, respectively, sitting back in fourth from the Queensland composite there in fifth place. So Chad Willett and Adam Holland, they've led the race pretty much from the get-go. 4.6 seconds the ascendancy back to Oscar Baregi and Jack Power. But as you mentioned, Stuart, we know they've got a good finish on them. We saw it here on this very course at the New South Wales State Championships about 6 weeks ago. And only the next minute or so will tell if they're capable of replicating that feat here in these slightly faster tailwind conditions to book themselves a much more preferred lane in the semi-finals on Thursday.
And Nicholas Barlow and Benjamin Shuttleworth, that's University of Queensland Griffith composite crew in lane 2, finished third at New South Wales Championships. So we've got first bested by the canned Adelaide composite of Willett and Holland. They're still out in front, coming in now to the last 200 metres or so. UTS sitting in second place. They seem to be... So they seem to be
a little bit of energy.
Just conserving that energy. They're all going through to the semi-finals, so they're all pretty comfortable there. We've got Willett and Holland are going to go through, take the win. Baregi and Power probably going through in second place, just ahead of Barlow and Shuttlewood, and then across then to Salfinger and Lowry. It's a win there for Chad Willett, Adam Holland, second to Oscar Baregi and Jack Power from UTS, third to Nicholas Barlow and Benjamin Shuttleworth from Griffith and UQ, with fourth going through to lane 4, Fremantle Swan River composite of Harry Salfinger and Oscar Lowry. Fifth place will go to the UQ Griffith Uni composite of Charles Clark and Patrick Murphy, with the Sydney Rowing Club crew of Fletcher Smith and Maxim Maloney in sixth place. The winning time there for Willett and Holland was a 6 minutes 41.22 and a winning margin of 3.8 seconds, with another 3 seconds back to third.
It's a pretty handy time, considering I don't think any crews there were really particularly throwing any punctures as we get underway with our final race of the first day's program here at the Australian Rowing Championships. Heat 3, race number 90 of the under-21 men's double scull. In lane 2, Hawthorn Rowing Club, represented by Max Curry and William Hexter. Lane 3, Adelaide University Boat Club, James Williams, Arthur Drayton. Lane 4, we have Sydney University Boat Clubs, Alexander Page and James Scott Brown. In lane 5, Adelaide University, that's Jude Shermer and Jasper Boyce. In lane 6, we have Angus Vermey and Ryan Fox from Buckingham. And in lane 7, a composite of Nick Wayland from Sydney Rowing Club and Charles Radin from Corio Bay, who were our race leaders at the 500 and just edged out that lead to almost a boat length at the 1,000 over Hawthorn Rowing Club's Max Curry and William Hexter on the far side of the course. Adelaide University sitting in third, and a battle on for that last qualifying spot between Buckingham and Sydney University Boat Club. Adelaide University just trailing behind at that halfway point.
And we're just seeing now the footage from the BRO boat following down for the last race of day number 1 of the 2024 Australian Rowing Championships. On your left-hand side, you can see the Hawthorn crew, Max Curry and William Hexter, out in front, coming up towards the 12:50 mark. Then closest on the left-hand side, we've got the Adelaide University crew of Williams and Drayton, and then looking straight ahead, you've got the Sydney University Page and Scott Brown, and then Adelaide University Shermer and Boyce. So Adelaide University, all the universities getting plenty of footage here from the BRO boats as they follow down. You can see the Blue Mountains off in the distance, the grandstand now starting to appear as they come down the course for the final time today.
Yeah, so Nick Whalen and Charles Radin teaming up here in the double. Nick had a great first 1,000 in his single race earlier, one of the quickest in the field actually to the 1,000 metre mark, but just dropped off the pace a little bit. I'll have to go through the repechage tomorrow, but making sure that is not the case here in the double scull. He's just edged out that lead and head up there with Charles Radin from Corio Bay, and just making sure they're in that prime qualifying spot for the semi-final and affording themselves every chance of a good lane in the A final as well. But still only about half a boat length their lead over Hawthorn Rowing Club, Max Curry, William Hexter on the far side of the course, who are doing well to stay within within a second at that 1500 metre timing point.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see some of these crews that have formed since New South Wales Championships. Curry and Hexter were second at New South Wales Championships. They're sitting second in this particular heat, and we saw that earlier with Baregi and Power from UTS, who won the event, sitting second behind Willett and Holland in that first heat. So
it's great we've got that the New South Wales Championships is such a good form guide, but it's also fantastic when we see that things might be a bit differing from what's happened just a couple of weeks ago, whether that be crew changes or people just simply training a little bit harder and getting a little bit faster. And that's the beauty of sport, that nothing is pre-decided. And I believe this Hawthorn crew, as we say that, just look to be mounting a bit of a charge and might upset this Sydney Rowing Club and Corio Bay Composite.
Well, I was about to say it was a form guide, not an oracle. But certainly looking very good, this Hawthorn crew. And you're right, Chris, I think they might just be starting to move ahead. Certainly the Corio Sydney Composite have just lowered that rate of striking down a little bit. Also under a little bit of pressure, we can see Adelaide University in that middle lane there, the crew of Shermer and Boyce just starting to up their rate of striking and try and go through with a nice strong finish. It will be Hawthorn though, through the final 500 metres. They've certainly upped their rate. It does look like our semi-finalists are well and truly. William Hexter, second at New South Wales Champions, first in the third heat of the men's under-21. And Corio Bay. Third place will go to fourth to Buckingham Rowing Club's Angus Vermey and Ryan Fox. So they're our qualifiers for the semi-finals. Fifth place will go to Sydney, with Adelaide University's James Williams and Arthur Drayton finishing in sixth place. Winning time there for the Hawthorn Rowing Club crew of 6 minutes 43.85 with a winning margin of 4 seconds and then another second back to third place. As that concludes racing for day one of the 2024 Australian Rowing Championships. We've got racing starting again at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, Chris.
8 o'clock tomorrow morning, straight into the repechauges of the under-17 women's single scull. Stuart, fantastic first day racing. Got a highlight?
Look, I think some of those double scull races towards the end there are certainly very close. And it was fantastic to see the National Training Centre athletes going out there, particularly in the men's single sculls. We know the two that are going through, David Bartolo and Marcus Delamata, both won their heats. They're going through to the final qualification regatta over in Lucerne later on this year. But for the other men's scullers, you know, it was interesting to see where they're all sitting at the moment. And for me, coming from the ACT, it was fascinating to see Hamish Harding beat Caleb Antill.
Yep. And fantastic races by from Campbell Watts as well, really knocking on the door. Perhaps spurred on by St Joseph's College and taking the win on the weekend.
Rowing Australia is broadcasting live via livestream.com and also linked via our website all week until the final race on Sunday. This year we are also broadcasting the finals via the Sports Entertainment Network from Thursday to Sunday. And a big hello to our interstate and international viewers. We hope you're enjoying the show.